Well, we want to welcome you to this another Marcia Weeks show. I am Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols, and it's a pleasure of mine to co host this program again tonight with the Queen of the Loyal Opposition, Marcia Weeks. And we thank God for the tremendous work that she's accomplishing, not on her own, not because she wants to raise issues because she has nothing better to do, but because she has a concern, and not only herself but many Barbadians. And what we simply are doing are giving a voice to those many Barbadians that have their areas of concern for our country, the direction the country is going in economically, morally, in terms of our education. We are having challenges with the national insurance scheme that Mr. Caswell Franklin is going to be looking at. And we have so many issues facing us as a country. The increasing debt, that we keep borrowing money, the phenomenal amount that we are borrowing every single year, every single month almost. So we're concerned about that. Of course, you would have heard some remarks to do with the No VAT Day. And of course, I find, I have some suspicions there. Where persons could set something up simply to validate their perspective of misinformation. And I recognize during the pandemic that one of our leaders spoke in a conference meeting with a press conference meeting with Amanpour, I believe it is, talked about how governments have to control the information. They have to control the internet and control the social media platforms. You see, that's when persons are insecure, one, and that's when persons are dedicated to doing what is not right. You don't want people to examine what you are doing. You don't want them to pay attention. You don't want them to debate and discuss. You want to shove your perspective down the throat of everyone, and they have to accept it. There's no discussion. And then, of course, then you have the aspect of control. You see, government has always, down through the years, controlled information that we receive. But today, because of the social media platform, because of platforms like YouTube, Facebook, of course, the internet, you have the access now to Reuters and CNN and Newsday and Fox News and BBC. We now have access to information freely, where government cannot determine and censor what they want us to hear. And I've observed that many governments don't like that. They want to, again, begin to control what the people hear. And that's the aspect that we often are facing today, where those things that are being promoted, those things that are being expressed. And I must tell you, that thought crossed my mind. Did somebody from the government actually mention this thing about a No VAT Day, or was it just put out there by somebody within the context of the political party, just to try to create the platform to be able to determine for themselves, or to be able to justify? That's the word I'm looking for. Justify the whole aspect of censorship. We went through all of this during the pandemic, where now that people have known the truth. Now people know the truth because they have been able to see it on so many platforms. And welcome, Madam Marcia, to your show. And it's so good to have you on again tonight. And I love those Christmas tree lights. You see, I haven't got mine done yet because
Merry
I haven't been able to get my daughter to come up yet and do something behind me. I'm hopeless when it comes to that kind of stuff, But beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Now, is that
I'm all into Christmas. I'm all into Christmas, and
no,
it's great to be here and celebrating. And it's just a great time with family and
yes, it
friends
is.
and everybody. And we have in our studio Regina Udalor, and she's going to be talking about a warm Christmas. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you good and loud and
Okay.
clear.
Right, so she's going to be talking about a warm Christmas, and she's coming up. So the lighting is all about that warm Christmas.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm curious. Is that that entire curtain carrying the lights, or have you done the lights and the curtain separately? Because I
Well,
know you can
well,
get that
it's
stuff.
called a curtain. It's called curtain lights. And what happens
Really?
is that the lights are attached at the back of the curtain, and then it just drapes and comes down like a curtain, like how a curtain is.
Well, I'm going to have to try to find that. Definitely.
You know, the thing about it, in a warm Christmas, you know, a lot of times people wonder what happens in Africa for Christmas. They
Yeah.
have lights too. You know, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. You know, I often wondered, and then when I actually saw um the movie, I'm like, wow. So they have lights in Nigeria. I don't know if I'm
Yes.
stupid, but I didn't even realize that they had lights as well. You know, so I'm so excited, and I want to thank. I'm seeing Mystic Angel is on, and Merlin O'Neill is on. Mr. Maximus is on. Someone, Mystic Angel, you're asking for the yeah, the YouTube link is right there. I'm gonna put it up, and we're
I
gonna ask
just did.
everybody. You just did.
I
Oh,
beat you to it.
yeah, we're a great team. We are a great team,
Ah,
and
yes, it's right up there.
so guys, listen, share this link, share the link, folks, and because we're on a new platform. And you know what, I was trying for us to go live on Instagram, and Instagram is telling me that there's a third party trying to mess with my Instagram. I don't know what they're talking about. So um so I can't get on Instagram tonight, but I'm not
What?
going to stop until I get through. We're going to get on there. We're
Well,
going
actually, the indicator up on the top of my screen says you're live.
Yes, it's saying that, but there is something else that has to be
Something
done.
blocking you.
Yeah, and
Okay,
so it's stopping me. But throughout the night, I'm going to continue to try to get on.
absolutely.
So guys, can you please share this link for us? Just so everybody knows, we are going to be off of Africa Bridge TV channel for up until Monday, up until Christmas Day. We're off, which is fine because we are going to when it comes on to the holiday period from Friday will be our last show, and then so that we can Sunday we can spend with our families. You know, it's Christmas
Yes.
Eve, so we won't be on Christmas Eve. We're not going to be on Christmas Day. Come on, right? But we're going to be on by Wednesday. We should be on again, right?
Well, that's a good gift for you to get on Christmas Day, getting back onto your channel.
Yes,
That's
yes.
a
So
Christmas
actually,
gift for
yeah.
you.
So we're not going to be on alternate views after this after Friday, okay? So look out for us, and please share. We're waiting for you to share. Normally a lot more people are on. Tony Paris, can you share there? This is the link there, which is right there. It's on the Facebook page, the Marcia Week Show Facebook page, and it's on YouTube, and the alternate views. So if you go to alternate views, you will and look for live. Just type in alternate views live on YouTube, and you should find us there. This is Kimar's page, which is coming from his book. So you'll be able to find us there. And so we just gotta do this little housekeeping before we delve right into the movie. And Dave and I were up last night watching Christmas movies on Netflix. And it's such a nice thing at Christmas time to watch movies. And what I mean for us, we're watching a movie from North America, but it would have been so good to be watching a movie from Africa. For me, that is. How about you, Pastor?
Well,
Uh,
we've grown up with snow that we've never seen, reindeer that we've never seen, um, Santa Claus we've never seen because he can't come through the sky, like on the. I hope you're hearing how ridiculous this songs. I'm in Barbados, so we're snow. You're right. I believe that. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you, Marcia, because I've always been curious as to how they celebrate Christmas in Africa. Honestly, we know all about North America. We've got all the songs. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I think that went on until we got our own. I'm dreaming of a sunshine Christmas. So it'll be nice to hear what Africa sings for Christmas. Those songs. I'm looking forward to it.
That's wonderful. And look at it. It's a warm. You get that. I love the coloring of this. I mean, to
Yes.
filmmaking. And I heard a birdie told me they went to see it at the cinema, and it is so beautiful on the screen. And I feel so proud. I feel so proud of Africa to be able to produce something of this excellence. And
Yes. Yes,
I'm very,
absolutely.
very happy for them. And they have two flyers actually. This is another one
Oh, I like that
that
one.
they
That's a box.
you like this. Yeah, this is a good
Yeah.
one. This is a good one. Yes, yeah, you like Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I love it because it's a warm Christmas, and you get the feeling that they're going somewhere. They're leaving from the cold, and they're going somewhere, right? That
Yep.
that's the impression that you get. And for those of you who are watching, this is Regina Udler film, and she is producer and director on this film and writer of the film. And it's just an amazing piece of work that it is premiering in the Caribbean. This is a world premiere. This is a
Hey, but
world
listen,
premiere.
that's really important. There was a James Bond movie that premiered right here too in Barbados, Marcia. And I
Yes,
mean, when you consider, we all know about James Bond and Sean Connery, all those things about James Bond. And to think that we get a premiere of a African movie. Wow.
yes,
Wow, that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know, uh, I think there is an ad, and I'm trying to find that ad. I'm going to see if Dave can play the ad as well for us. This is we have an ad that Ronnie Clark did, and he did such a fabulous job of
Is
it.
this the
So
trailer?
not the trailer. I think
Okay.
there's another ad,
Join
and
me
so
this
we're just
Christmas season
gonna play
at the
that,
Olympus
and then we're
Cinema
gonna
for a
bring them
brand new
in
Nigerian family film,
to
A
the
Warm Christmas, as a westernized Nigerian family encounters the depths of true family back home in Nigeria. Laugh and cry as this family wrestles with the strength of the African tradition in a real and fascinating way. This award-winning film will inspire you by the love, the warmth, and the faith of the African way as father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, and grandchildren meander into discovering what Christmas really means and how it is celebrated in Africa. Don't miss this timely film at the Olympus. Check their website for showtimes and bring the entire family for a warm Christmas this Christmas.
Oh my gosh! Every time I see it, you saw the drums, and every time I see it, it just does something for me. Look at Mr. Franklin there smiling all the way. What are you smiling at? You were watching it and smiling too.
I was fighting to get on, but I keep having little issues.
I saw that.
But I heard Freddie singing, and that reminded me something I was thinking about today. But he was saying, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." I'm saying, well, with this era of LGBT and thing, you can so be hearing. Um, I saw Daddy kissing Santa Claus.
Oh
Oh, dear me.
no, no.
So
You
that's
have a
that's why that's why I was smiling, because it just came in my head. I said,
Yes,
"God."
yes. Well, the rating you're seeing here, it's at the Olympus Cinemas, guys, and it's at 3:15 p.m. And it's rated G for the entire family. So I think this is the Olympus page that we're seeing, and it's being shown at the Olympus at 3:15 p.m. Um, and
is
but you
that
can check
daily?
quick because we can hardly see what's happening here on the page. If we can get the information in the comment section, that would be great. How many of you planning to go and see the movie? Good night, Tony Paris. Thank you for sharing. Share the link, guys, of where we're located. That we're on Alternate Views on YouTube. Alternate Views on YouTube. That's where we are. So we need you to just be sharing. That's where we are. Yeah.
And we've already got Tyrone Nurse. Good night to all from Calgary, Alberta.
Oh wow!
What do you? That's across. That's going across Canada, Marcia. That's
Yes.
going. Isn't that like central Canada, somewhere in that area?
Yes.
Wow!
In Calgary.
Wow!
Yes, and
My
he's
goodness.
you know, and he's a supporter. He's a very good supporter, and we can't say everything online because they support. So the people in the diaspora, they support so much, and you know, we can't call everybody's name, and we don't want to because we want to make sure that they remain anonymous. But we want to thank everybody for the support that they give to you know, to what we do. And as we're talking about this film, this film is going to be in you know, in various countries. Also we are hoping that it gets on Netflix and so on. So, well, you know, those of you outside of Barbados, when you hear about the film, you know, make sure you go and support it, right? It's premiering in Barbados, but make sure that you actually do go out and support the film. All right. Well, let me just welcome. We welcome the general here and this evening, and but let me also welcome our Nigerian producer, director, and writer, Regina Udalor, and one of the child actors of the film. Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. Wow. So nice to have both of you with us in Barbados. Welcome to Barbados.
And we are already wearing a warm Christmas T-shirt.
Oh wow! There you
That's
go.
your shirt. And,
yes.
And does he have a shirt like that?
Yes.
Can I see your
Something
shirt?
more children friendly.
Oh.
And a bit more Norwegian, probably.
So you guys you're in Norway right now, Regina.
Yes.
Yes. And now can you introduce the actor beside you and tell me what part he played in the movie?
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, everybody. It's really, really lovely being here. And this is Omachonu Udalo, who played the role of Jaden, whose name is also Ikori, because you know, literally everybody in Africa has two names. There's usually the tribal name, and then there is in quote, the Christian name. So it depends on which family or, you know, what the parents decide to go with. So if you notice later on when you see the film, for some who have watched it, they would see where the grandparents stress to call the other names instead of the Christian name. So but that is Jaden, and yeah, go ahead and say hi.
Hi, Jaden. Can you tell us about the part you played in the film?
I was like the youngest child in the film.
Yes, you were the youngest child in the film. And what was your screen name?
Your screen name, Jaden.
What's the name? What's the name that you had in the film?
Jaden.
Jaden. Okay, so Jaden is the name. So I got it confused. So Jaden is the name that you had in the film. Did you enjoy the filming? And if you do, what part of it did you enjoy? Which scene was your favorite scene and why?
That's a long thinking.
Yeah.
We want to assume he liked every part.
Yeah, I think he probably does. He's trying to figure it out. Okay. Was he, Marcy, was he a part of the pitching of that stopper?
Was he pitching? You know, we call it pitching, like when the cover of the bottle of the drink.
Oh no, he didn't. Okay, no, he didn't do that. But what
didn't
Oh,
scene
do
do you
okay.
that
like the most?
section.
The car washing scene.
Yeah, you can look this way and
The
talk.
car washing
You
scene.
like the car washing scene? That was a lot of fun. I saw that. That was a lot of fun, and I could tell your character was having a lot of fun in that scene. Yes. And
Yes.
did you enjoy? Because I know you live in Norway, right? And but then you had to travel to Nigeria. What did you enjoy being in Nigeria?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. What kind
Well,
of food? Tell me about the Nigerian food. What did you like to eat there?
you know jollof rice. You need to stop doing that. They're watching you. Keep
No,
your head here.
I don't
Yeah, I know,
remember
but you have to
something.
see. Everybody's
He's
I remember.
thinking. So you like
something
jollof
else.
rice?
jollof
Let me
rice.
ask him though. I think he likes jollof rice. You like jollof rice?
Rice and
You
stew.
don't like that one? What
Rice and
about
stew.
What did you
there's
what did you what did you
Okay, he
call that,
likes fried
Marcia?
rice.
you like fried rice? Oh,
Fried
okay.
rice.
I don't know, made us some kind
You said what dollar fries? Jollof
Jollof.
fries?
Jollof
Jollof.
rice, yes. No,
Can
she's
you tell us
actually.
about
What?
jollof rice? Can you Regina?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a whole big, you know, fight going on with who has the best jollof rice in Africa between Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal. But everybody's mother's food is the best. So I would say Nigeria is. So,
Yes, yes.
so like the jollof rice is currently one of the most no, it is the most famous food from Africa, and it's made out of you use tomato sauce to make the food, and then of course you have African dishes. Actually, on Masia's show some years back, we had done some cooking, and we had shared some recipes for people to try, which was very interesting and fun. So I guess we need to do this again, Masia.
Yes, we definitely
Definitely,
need to.
especially with me here.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. Definitely. So, do you have the times for the movie here in Barbados? You have what time it's showing here at the Olympus?
Yes, I checked earlier today or not too long ago, and I saw 8:15 p.m. as we speak right now, and that's for today, Wednesday. But I also noticed that if you check Thursday, Friday, all the way to Sunday, you have the same timing, which is 8:15 p.m.
Yes. Okay. And 8:15 p.m. I thought I'd seen a 3:15, but I probably read it incorrectly.
No,
But
no.
people,
I think what
yeah,
people
they
could also do is just double check, because I don't, yeah, before they go, they can just get on their website and double check the time. But the good news is that when you get on the what do you call it, the page, you see a warm Christmas first. I don't know if you can see this. This is difficult, but a
yeah,
warm
put
Christmas
it
is
near
the
the
first.
camera. Put it near the camera, and then yes, we can come down a little bit. Okay, so that's it first. Yes, I
This is
see.
the first film.
Ah,
Yes,
yes. So it will be easy to find.
yes. Once you open it up, you see that first.
Okay, and what do you
So,
want people to take away? What do you want Barbadians to take away from this movie, Regina?
oh, I mean, this is really special. For me, it's um, there's a tagline we started using recently for our film production company called Archiving the African Culture. And for me, film is supposed to be that. Generally, as Africans, we didn't have the opportunity of recording down what our history is. And so
Mm-hmm.
using this medium of film is, for me, the best way in today's world for people to learn more about their culture, and for new people to know what African culture is. There's a lot of people who have mixed up so many things. They don't have an idea what it is. Um, and all they hear are stories that other people have made up. So the film for me would be, I mean, for Barbados, it would be beautiful that people go watch it. You see how beautiful and rich our African culture is. And of course, if you have the time, go all the way back to Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, any part of Africa, Rwanda, and just experience it is going to change your life. Seriously. So, and we're just really excited to share this. Just like Marcia said, when you get on Netflix, you don't see many African Christmas stories. If there was just one I saw, which is Niger Christmas, made by Kule and Folanya, and that's the only Christmas film that comes from Nigeria. And I don't know about maybe there's one or two from South Africa, but I mean this would be great that we have more stories that shows how we celebrate not just Christmas. We have other celebrations that we do, like the New Yam festivals, which are really huge, which we will also use called the harvest, and that is even bigger than Christmas. So, you know.
Wow, there you have a festival that's bigger than Christmas in Nigeria?
Yes, actually.
Wow.
It's called the New Yam Festival, and it's so beautifully.
You said the new yam, new, and the word yam, new yam?
Yes, yam, which is yam is you know, the tuber, the long one where fufu, one of
Oh yeah, we know yam, girl, we know yam, it's not that bad. We know yam. but you have a festival surrounding yams that is bigger than Christmas?
Yes, what? Absolutely. And that's also because yam is a major food from most parts of Africa, and it signifies the new harvest. The new is in reality that is our new year. So it is in that sense bigger than Christmas, but obviously Christmas is celebrated all over the world, so it becomes more popular, or it has become more popular. But the New Year festival is bigger and actually more culturally rich.
That is really very, very interesting. That in there we don't have, you know, Mr. Franklin, listening to her, I'm here thinking we don't have any festival that's bigger than Christmas, do we? In the Caribbean. You're muted. You're muted.
No, we don't. But then you see, in Nigeria, you have Christians and Muslims. So the Muslims wouldn't celebrate Christmas officially.
No.
But they will celebrate yams. I celebrate yams. They're gonna go sell up there now.
They will celebrate yams.
Wow. Wow. Someone says if your son here that played Jaden, if he's the one sitting, somebody said, well, he's the one, Tony Paris said he's the one sitting in the middle of the back seat on the ad of the movie.
Yes.
Okay. So we gotta see you one more time. Let's see him one more time. Where is he? Well, oh, wrong one. This is the wrong. Okay.
Yes, in the middle.
Yes, that's him right. That's him right there in the middle there. Listen, guys, I love to see this kind of cross-cultural thing happening, and I'm happy that it's world premiering in Barbados, you know, because we're part of you. We're Africans as well.
Thank you.
It's good, and the culture is coming home, and that's wonderful. So tell us the time again. It's at the Olympus Cinemas, and it's at 8:15.
8:15 as of now that I've checked is 8:15, and we are.
Now where you check in? Where you check in?
On Olympus Theater.
I'm actually seeing 3:15.
Okay, so maybe I'm getting a different feed from here.
Okay, right. So that's what I was saying. I don't know if the times can be posted in the chat so that it's clear for the viewers. But if someone could post the times of the movie in the chat would be great. So it's 3:15 p.m. Okay, because I thought 8:15 would be a little too late. But you know what we were thinking?
Wondering,
yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, Marcia, if she is seeing the feed that she is seeing would be 5 hours ahead of us.
Probably.
And that's probably why she's showing 8:15 on her feed.
That's what I thought of that early as well. So that's why you're seeing 8:15 for you.
8:15.
Okay, so guys, so can we just get it? Get it in the chat itself so that people, because we have put out the wrong information earlier, so we don't want that to be confusing. So it's 3:15 p.m. Barbados time, and look out, because we are trying to do to go to see it on Boxing Day. So we want the Marcia Week show. Those of you who want to go, let's have another
Wow.
outing together, no? Let's have an outing together. Mr. Casual,
Nice.
bring the wife, and Ferdinand, bring the wife,
I can't,
and
I
you know.
can't, I can't, I can't. Boxing Day is the opening of the singing Christmas tree, and I'm
Oh, I'm
performing
Really?
in
sorry.
fact.
Well, you know what?
Oh.
Okay, but it's showing daily at we're showing daily at Olympus at 3:15, right? So we will have to see how that works. That time works, you know. But and then listen, by Friday you'll know exactly which day we are going to go. But I think off the cuff we felt, you know, what you think about Boxing Day, Mr. Franklin? Muted.
That is usually when I've eaten more than I should the day before, and I have to relax. that's what that's what Boxing Day means to me.
Oh my lordy.
So,
Well, that's what we do too. So you know what? Yes. So somebody said yes. It's 3:15 Barbados time. So all the way leading up to Christmas, you can go and watch it 3:15, and we want to make an outing of it. And somebody just said to do it at that time. So but we will we will go ahead and try to we will tell you which day we're going to go. Okay. All righty. Well,
Thank you.
you know what? Let's just put up the flyer one more time, and just thank you so much for coming on, Regina,
Thank you
and
very much.
yes, and our little actor there,
Omachenu. Omachenu is his name.
Mama Cheno,
Omachonu.
Omachunu,
Yes.
Omachunu.
Yes.
Oh, Machunu, good night. What time is it there? It's pretty late. Oh,
Yes.
Machunu.
12:30. So he did a really good job.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
tired. I
Wow.
know. So, guys, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say to them, Mr. Franklin or Dr.
no,
Nichols?
I just want to wish them well, and they want every Barbadian who can make it go and see it, because right now we've only been
Absolutely.
used to the white Christmas and all kind of stuff coming from North America. We don't have those experiences. They don't
Yes.
relate to us. So when we can see something that is more in line with who we are, a warm Christmas.
Yeah.
I've never had a cold one yet. Well, not maybe. So I,
I'm,
I, I
I'm,
left Canada on Christmas Day once. But other than that, we need to show people who we are and where we came from. And I think this is a very good idea that should be
lovely.
supported.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm just here laughing, Marcia. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la. I don't know even what a holly is.
Well,
Oh,
but me, I'm going to sing my other one. If you start singing Freddie, I'm going to sing my version too.
Listen. Oh my God.
really?
You see? Okay, guys.
Thank
But
you.
Wow.
thank you all so much for coming, Regina. Thank you for
Thank
being on,
you.
and
Yes.
we're
Lovely.
definitely will make an outing of it. Good to have
Merry
you,
Christmas.
and
Merry
you're
Christmas
Yes.
to
free
you.
to
Merry
come
Merry
back
Christmas.
again
Christmas.
and bring another actor. Okay, you're free to come back and bring on some more actors and those that work on the crew, as crew members
Yes.
as well. Okay, God bless you,
Absolutely.
and I know it's
Thank
going to be well.
you.
Bye, Omachulo.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I have to learn
Bye.
I have to learn how to
Bye-bye.
pronounce all those African names,
Yeah.
Marcia. I don't have a clue.
Wow. Well,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
goodness.
yes, you know what? We have to support what they're doing as a filmmaker. I'm very sensitive to that, because
Uh-huh.
we've had to do our show our movie in Nigeria, actually Nigeria and Ghana, and wanted so much support over there that Step by Step Productions, our film company, is helping distribute the film here. So we want to, to really just encourage them in what they're doing. Yes,
What
and
what I
we
found
maybe want to get back into filmmaking.
I found amazing when she said about this New Yam festival that's bigger than Christmas. I went like, you got to be kidding! I didn't know there was a festival or a celebration that was bigger than Christmas. But I'd like to see what that is like. Maybe they can do a movie about that, Marcia. New
Yes,
Yam
somebody was
Festival.
actually saying that.
Oh yeah,
Well,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we're here in Barbados, and I'm going to ask everybody to share. We're ready to jump into business, guys. You had about half hour that you could have shared while we were talking about warm Christmas. But we have so much going on in Barbados right now, and I see Mr. Kimar Stewart is on
Mm.
as well.
While you see my head down, I was sharing all over the place.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I was sharing all over all my Facebook page and on Telegram and oh wow.
I gotta make sure
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
people see, because a lot of people spoke to me and said, "But Casper, the show is not." I had to tell them, no, no, no. So tonight I made it my business to share, and share. Like, and I encourage everybody else in here who got friends, and everybody got friends, share it with them. Because we're not going to let them defeat us.
No, not at all. Not at all. We fight back, and that's what I love with the opposition. Mr. Franklin, I have. Do you know that we've been going for about December 31st would be 6 months that we have been going for. So when we started out, we were going 5 nights a week. You know,
Yes,
Ah,
no, but it was a worthy cause, and it still is a worthy cause. But
yeah, and it's growing.
they
It's
they,
growing.
they got to listen, because you see, but I don't want to steal anything. But they believe that they can go and Parliament to do whatever they like, and we are supposed to just sit down and take it. But we are showing them that we're not going to take it. That we have minds, and sometimes better minds than them, and they must listen. And if this is one avenue that will force them to listen, I know that they're listening, because once or twice, few more times than that, people in government, I talk about in Parliament, have seen me and told me, make comments about this show. So they're watching. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but you see, the thing is, they're watching with a view to get it off. And anything that they want to get off, it has to be, there has to be something in it. Politicians don't go they're looking to destroy anything unless it is,
it's a threat.
yeah, a threat to them.
It's a
So
threat.
this program is a
I
threat to
would
them,
you.
and I will keep on threatening them as long as they have the strength. So that's probably why they wanted to kill me or make me sick. But thank God, look, you see this face, just looks it to you, and I am, I am not going to back down, because this is worth it. This is worthwhile. When I remember when Martha and I spoke about I coming on her show and doing this thing, and I say, some person put up a whole set of YouTube channels, Facebook, not Facebook, I have Facebook already, all the other things. And I said, I do not want to have any association with him. I'm not getting in that. So people would have seen that he advertised and all kind of stuff. And I said, when God is ready, he will show the way. And he showed the way on the Marcy Week show. Because even though they have a whole set of channels with my name on them, I have not set up one. Had nothing to do with me. But they were encouraging me to get, and I said, I have a certain standard to maintain, and that fella is not the type of person that they want to be associated with. I would be associated with Marcy Weeks any day. So when
Thank you.
we decided to use her show, I said, good, thank God. The Lord knows when he's ready. He's never
Well,
done anything before his time.
well, Caswell,
I'm
I
glad.
was
I was going to
I
say something quick here. I have to say,
go
jump
ahead,
in
go ahead.
right here, and then I want to say that
Right.
I'm so glad the way you told that story, because
Yeah.
because of your integrity, you didn't go with anybody else, and you didn't want to just go on a show. You wanted to show that God wanted you on. And I want to say to those of you who are watching that really and truly, this is not about any of us you see on the screen. This whole thing came together because I believe there's an unseen hand, whatever you call the unseen hand, because I know we're from different faiths, but there's an unseen hand that is leading and guiding us. And Barbados will be saved. Barbados will be rescued. Barbados will be delivered. Whatever you want to put it, even if you want to use a non-religious term, but what I'm saying is that God cares about Barbados, and that's why this has come together and why we fight for it. Everybody you see on here, when we come and we open our computers, nobody here asks for any money because I don't have none to give them, and I don't get any myself. We just open our computers and we use whatever resources we have, and we come and we speak on behalf of Barbados. That's what we do. I know you were
My,
saying something, Pastor Dr.
no,
Fred.
before you
No.
do it, I just want to add. You say just pull down a mic and headphones. I didn't buy these. They were all sent by people on the show. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, I have I have earphones and another set of headphones that the people bought me one of them on the march. And they say she's not hearing me good. And she brought a headphone. So I'm telling you, this I
Marcia,
kid you,
Marcia,
I
you got
kid
to
you
tell
not.
them what happened to you.
I kid you not. Look, I kid you not. If you I would have just said these things just because I can. Here we go.
Someone
Headphones.
bought you those.
Yeah, somebody, but we were on the mark. Somebody said, we're not hearing you. And they bought these for me, you know?
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Lovely.
So,
Absolutely lovely.
so there has to be something to it. God is moves in mysterious ways. But this is one of the mysterious ways. I have another set of air things, you put them inside the air rather than on the outside that somebody else brought. You can't beat this show. But this is when God is for you, who can be against you? Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
this is just to show you that none of these cost me a penny. And the night I'm on the show and I can't get on Freddie, remember? And then my phone rang and somebody is telling me this is how to press this key and do that and do the next and do the third because they wanted me on. And they're calling me to tell me this is how you do it, so that I can, because I wasn't getting through. And so, we getting in and out, in and out. But I'm not an expert yet, but I'm learning. People they're calling.
This your brother. I'm not an expert yet either, boy, but am I learning? No, I was going to say, Marcia asked me on one Monday just to hold the show for the Monday, but I've been enjoying myself so much that I more often than not invite myself. It's been such a joy, and many people may not know this, Marcia, but I go all the way back to the very first Walk Holy band that you ever had in the country when Sister Marshall was singing on the truck. And I was on the truck with that show, and I mean with that band, and I never believed that we would have come all the way down through the years to where we are here today. And it
Yeah.
just goes to show, what is capable of being done when you stick to it, and it like a postage stamp, stick till you get to where you're supposed to be. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely.
And
Just a joy.
there was somebody who and this is segueing into what we're going to talk about tonight because we're at the end of the year, and this is kind of like we're going back and looking at all the things that have happened since we started 6 months ago, generally 4 shows per week. We're looking at what, about 12 hours, right? It's 12
Yep,
hours of
12 hours.
just time, giving time, and all the people that have done it with us. And all today I was thinking, people are sending money to people in Barbados. People are sending money. Can you give it to somebody that needs money? Can you, the diaspora, they are all into this. And this is just, I mean, so awesome. So it's all of us together as a group. Kimar came on afterwards, and I used to bring him on certain issues, and now again, he became a staple, and just worked his way in everybody's heart. So this is something that God is actually doing. and a blessing for Barbados. And you don't have to be a church person to understand that there's an unseen hand that is leading us, and which is going to bring us to where we are now. Because as we discuss the issues, we don't need to feel depressed. We don't need to feel discouraged. We need to understand that the same hand that brought this together is the same hand that is going to complete all everything that is to happen in Barbados. And one of the first things that happened this week, that I want to talk about is these IDs that are supposed to expire on January 31st. And we have been talking about that on and off on this program. I remember one of the first persons that brought this to the attention of Barbadians was the leader of the Democratic Labour Party, Ronnie Yearwood. And that's one issue I will always say, that Dr. Ronnie Yearwood was very, very, very strong about this ID, and to the point where he said he wasn't going to take he wasn't going to go for the new ID. He was going to use his passport. And he, along with others, brought out a lot of the issues, made it clear to Barbadians. I do hope that I can hear his voice again, because his voice was so strong at that time. But here we are. It's only days away that those old IDs will no longer be be used. We are no longer be able to use those IDs. Good night, Timar. How are you doing?
Uh, good night, Marcia. Good night, Caswell, Pastor
Right, good
Good
night.
Ferdinand.
night. Good night. Great to
Good
see you,
night,
Kimar.
good night to the audience. I see Mr. Angel here saying good night to me. Uh, good night to Tony Paris. I met Tony recently. He said he's a regular on the show. He's tuning in. So good night to Tony, and good night to all of the roadside parliament, all of the loyal opposition. We're very happy to be here as always. As Marcia said, we're here
And
doing the
we're
Lord's
happy to
work.
have you.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
we're doing the Lord's work. Maybe not in church, but the Lord requires soldiers in all departments of the army.
That's right. That's right.
So
Marketplace, my friend.
yeah.
Marketplace.
So we're led
I
by
love that.
able-bodied.
We're soldiers.
Yeah, we're led by able-bodied general. The man of the hour. You know.
Listen, Kimar, let me tell you, this man in Jamaica, we say this is a bad man. You see how this man deal with them before? You see, let me tell you, my general said, listen, I'm not talking to none. I ain't talking to y'all. I'm talking in my Bajan.
That's
My
not
general
Bajan, that's
said,
Jamaican.
but let me talk in Jamaican. My general said, where I go? How we I talk to? How we I talk to? The man just said,
I love it. I
back,
love
back.
it. Love it.
Barbados, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see your face. Step on the back. Listen, when I see this weird. Hey, you all, listen, you all making me go in Jamaica tonight, man. Wait, what is it, my
Well,
general? My general
I
said,
tell you,
Barbados
would you
who?
mind
Barbados
translating all of that? Would you mind translating or interpreting all of what you just said, please?
Listen, my general, said, no, no, not talking to you today. He sounded like Trump.
I tell you, boy. I tell you. I tell
I said,
you,
no, that
man.
is it. And I'm laughing, but I looked at that and I took strength. And I said, you see, Kimar can only get stronger from watching you, Mr. Franklin. I saw that today. I said, look at an older Kimar. Look at an older Kimar here telling the people. I said, this is the boldness that we need in Barbados. This is it.
Yes,
And you
yes, yes,
exemplify it.
absolutely. I love it.
I know we're going to be talking on different issues, but there's a reason we're talking like this tonight. Let me tell you, I really appreciated that, and that is people are looking for people like that, and those workers of Barbados today are going to know. Listen, that man serious, eh? That man will stand up for you, and it is a fact. He will stand up for you. So that is really somebody say easy on Marcy. You can't understand one word I'm saying. Yeah. So but
But
listen,
that's why
listen.
I asked you. That's why I asked you for an interpretation.
No, but listen, he come out like a Jamaican bad man. Man, tell you the man raw chop on them man. You know.
I
But
tell
but
you, he
let
shut them
let's
down like no business, man.
I love that, Mr. Franklin. I love that. But let's get to this issue. Kimar, I'm going to bring you in on this
Yeah.
ID, and what does this mean for Barbadians at this time? Because there are lots of people who have not taken the new ID, but after the 31st, that's it. What's going to happen to Barbadians?
Yeah, well, according to the new legislation in place, the Barbados Identity Management Act, I believe it's called,
Yes.
um, the persons who refuse to go and get the digital ID will not be able to vote, will not be able to hold a driver's license, passport, any public document really, you'll not be able to hold it. Worse yet, if you do not sign on to the digital ID, you will actually lose your Barbadian status. That you will actually become stateless in Barbados. So you'll be in Barbados, but you won't have a state, right? And if you don't take the digital ID, you basically the government basically disowns you, right? And that is how far-reaching the impacts of this digital ID is in Barbados. So they're using the digital ID, as you know, to pin it to your bank accounts. And when the government pins these IDs to your bank accounts, obviously the government will be able to monitor in real time your financial transactions, right? And if the government is able to monitor your financial transactions, everything you do, they will know. Everywhere you spend, they will know. And they'll be able to trail and track your spending for better extraction or taxation because this is all about accessing people's personal wealth through this digital ID. So the people of Barbados need to be very, very, very careful with this digital ID. Still urging you not to take it because the digital ID system that we have is actually one of the worst in the world when it comes to draconian systems. There are far more better digital IDs that the government could have taken up, but they chose this particular one, which has the extra surveillance in it because they intend to turn this Barbados into a complete surveillance state. Hey, so you see all of the different poles around, and they're telling you about these poles supposed to do traffic checks. They're supposed to do no traffic checks.
No, that's not true. No
They they,
traffic checks.
they are
That's
being
that's
set up.
yeah.
They are being set up because eventually in Barbados, much that we'll see in Jamaica, we will have something in Barbados called toll roads, where the people of Barbados will start to have to pay to drive on particular roads. And this toll road system is going to start in St. Andrew because the Chinese were given the contracts to build most of the road networks and the bridges in St. Andrew. And based off the IMF program and the amount of debt that Barbados is in order for the Chinese to recoup the 400 and some $1 million that the government of Barbados borrowed from it to do those roads, to guarantee the Chinese their investment, to guarantee the Chinese return on investment. Based on what they did in Jamaica, toll roads are the way they go, right? So when you get the digital IDs and stuff, all of these systems will be there to set up to monitor you, so that when you pass, the RFID reader in it would pop up on the traffic system, and the government will be able to surveil you in real time through that RFID reader, right? So a lot of these surveillance systems that the government is setting up is not really there for your benefit, you know. Some will say, well, there's a need for better security and traffic monitoring. No, 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 no. When you get that digital ID, the government intends to completely monitor everything, and that includes your whereabouts. That is the reason for these electronic tags on your vehicles, because when those systems are fully up and functioning, when you pass them on the vehicle, they will read into the system and the government will be able to track you, right? Right. Hello? Yeah, sorry. So you cannot be able to track you, trail you, everything. So it is dangerous to know that if you don't accept this ID first, if you're a Barbadian, they will say that you're not a Barbadian and the government owes you nothing. So I wonder how those people are going to be treated, right? And tell me how on God's earth can you pass piece of legislation like this, which actually, because none of us supported going to a republic. So you change the system of government in Barbados from the independent state to republic state, and the only new social contract you come up with is a digital ID. But it ain't just an ID, you know. If it was just an ID, it would have been like the last one. You would have just gotten your number, the ID number,
Mhm.
and that is it. But all of these new extra features are what you're also signing up for. And part of the sign up is for the active monitoring of its citizens through the digital ID system. Right? So I said it on the show before. When you pin your bank account to those IDs and the government owes any money to the IMF, the government is just going to swipe that money straight off your bank account and take it and pay back the IMF and say that, well, I owe you. This is property of the government. That is what it's all about. If you owe any taxes whatsoever to the government and you don't pay, the government could dip in your account and take it out. Right?
Wow.
So the people need to understand, and I think Caswell on music because he wanted to say something about why they did it with the nurses.
Yeah.
Right? So I can let him tell you.
When you did that, I muted back when you read my mind. But, because it is what Kimar is saying is not far-fetched. Even without the digital ID, those people broke the law and went into bank accounts on the 17th of December, 2 years ago, and took
Yeah.
off money that was already deposited on the nurses' accounts. If they didn't have the right or the power to do so, you don't think that they will do it now when they get the digital ID?
But Caswell, how could they go into your personal bank account? Isn't that supposed to be a secure perspective provided by the bank?
But the bank's frightened for our McGuffey. The banks and credit unions and stuff should have said, no, you can't do that. Even the director of finance, when I announced it initially, he said, oh, that's rubbish. Nobody can do that. That's a crime. And then we produced a video with the people from the call center Jamaica saying we get the instructions from the government of Barbados. And I heard nobody talk about it after that. Nobody government then.
Lock them up. Lock them up.
They weren't locking up. But the
Lock
other thing,
them up.
what Kimar is saying, they want to dispossess you of your citizenship because there's certain things that you're entitled to as a citizen of Barbados. This is just one that applies to me. It says every person who having been born in Barbados is on the 29th of November 1966 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies shall become a citizen of Barbados on 30th November 1966. Well, it was born prior to this, whether you believe it or not, by the 29th of November 1966. I was here before then, so I'm a citizen. That is my constitutional right. And for people like Kimar, every person born in Barbados after the 29th of November 1966 shall become a citizen of Barbados at the date of his birth. So they can't take away citizenship from you.
No,
they can take away citizenship from people who acquire citizenship.
Try it.
But it was born here. And they
them to try
can't
it.
take it from me. So when they say that I can't get the benefits of my citizenship, that's illegal, but they don't care about being illegal. They just care about following the dictates of the World Economic Forum, because this whole digital ID is not a Barbados grown thing, We set about
No, it is not.
following all the dictates of whoever they're borrowing money from and trying to make us in this country to be less than first-class citizens of our country. I am a first-class citizen of Barbados, and no amount of things that the Myanmar administration do will convince me or make me change my mind about that. If I have to go to court again on my own, I will, because I
I'll
have to stop
join
this.
you. I'll join you.
They
I'll
cannot
join you.
implement. See,
I'll
they tell
join
people
you.
I can't access services in Barbados.
Gotta
I
be
pay tax
crazy.
every day. I go to the shop, I pay 17.5% VAT for things I buy. You know, so you're gonna tell me no. Everybody pay income tax, national insurance, and then you can tell me I can't get benefits because I don't have an ID card. An ID card is not it's supposed to identify you to a third party. If I walk into a place and you don't need my ID if you know me. The ID card is supposed to identify you. That's what it's all about, to identify you to somebody. So, and they're saying to you, look, I go into a supermarket, one I shop at, and I'm searching for my ID, and the young lady says, Mr. Franklin, everybody here know you by now. So I really need your ID. That's common sense. This is the cashier. So you are going to tell me, all of a sudden, no, I walk in the place, and because I don't have that ID, I'm a non-person? All you want to know, because the ID will tell you. Let's say somebody gives a check to me, and somebody walks into a place and says, but I'm Caswell Franklin. The teller don't know who Caswell Franklin is, so she wants some sort of identification to say who you are. Now, if the person knows me and I present the check, they don't have to ask me for an ID because they know who I am. And it's gotten so ridiculous. Some years ago, when my mother was alive, as a matter of fact, today's the anniversary of her death. When I go to collect her national insurance pension, I go to the national insurance office, and the lady, I was just standing in line. I used to work at national insurance. So in those days, everybody in national insurance knew me. And I was in line, the lady came, and she came to work late. And I said, hi, Frankie, how you doing? I said, I'm good, I'm all right. And I get to and she went, set up, and then went and start seeing people. I managed to get to her. Mind you, this is a girl that saw me in the line. I said, hi, Frankie. And when I get to the top of the line, I handed the check, and she said, where's your ID? I lost it. I said, you idiot. You don't know me. I trained you when you came here. When you came to National Insurance to put you to work with me, and I trained you. You don't know me. Now give me. And I expected money. And the supervisor came up and he heard the noise. He said, look, keep the money. Don't let the keep noise. I said, just give me the money. Because you don't have to have an ID if people know you. But they're saying to me that I must have this ID because they want to track everything. I go to get a blood test at the hospital. They want my ID. And the thing is, the fellow look at me and ask me, how's snow? But if he didn't say, hi, Casper, how you doing? When he see me walk through the door, he got me, how's snow? But yes, he want my ID. Because they want to be able to track you and to see everything you do. If I had a blood test, the government want to know. And if the blood test came out with something that is undesirable, the government want to know that too. And they'll put it on, and so that information will be there for people to come and access. I don't want them in my business. In order to give me one of these, they're going to strap me down and take my picture. And I'm going to shut my age because I am not going to allow them to make me just one of the bunch of clowns. No, I'm not going to do it to you. I will use my passport. I will use my driver's license.
I was just about to ask you about that.
A driver's license is issued by the government of Barbados, saying that the person on this driver's license is who the government say it is. Now, all of a sudden, that is not valid because you're saying to me now, I have a driver's license, and the government is telling anybody, telling the police that stop me on the road, that is Caswell Franklin. Now, all of a sudden, after the 31st of January,
the driver's license is invalid?
No, it's going to be valid, but you can't use it for identification purposes. Or you can't use it to access services.
Well, I'll use my passport.
But that's the thing. Your passport is used to identify you to people in other countries. You can go to Canada, United States, Helsinki, Timbuktu, and you present a passport. The government of Barbados is saying, this is Caswell Franklin. No, you're going to tell me in Barbados, the government don't know that passport follows me, but you issue it. They don't think. And the arrogance of this government, when they come and do things and they believe that they can red roughshod over this country because they have the power. Marcy want to talk about this other one, Steal the Thunder, but that is what Ralph was telling to them. Listen to the people.
Yeah. Mr. Franklin, you're so correct on that, and I'm going to let Mr. Dr. Nichols give your thoughts on it, and then there's someone who sent me, actually, Ms. McLean sent me a document, an article here, and we really need to discuss this. Um, but I'm going to go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be very brief in my comment, Marcia, because the United States of America has rejected this digital ID. The entire United States Congress rejected the digital ID. There's pushback from New Zealand. There's pushback from Australia. There's a reason. Canada, not Canada, the United Kingdom has even debated the matter. And I don't even know that it's actually settled in the United Kingdom. I stand to be corrected on that. But here we have to be very careful because here's the thing, and Kimar, you can confirm this if I'm incorrect or not. From the moment you pin any card, you give the person, you actually agree. And I saw this somewhere this week. I was trying to remember all the time that Castle was speaking where I saw it. When you pin any document, ID card, any kind of a card, whether it be Visa, MasterCard, or whatever, when you pin it, you actually agree, you consent to the conditions governing that card. You just by pinning it. Okay, you don't have to sign a document, you don't have to fill out anything. Just by pinning it, so when we pin this Barbados ID card, what you're doing is you're consenting to giving the government access to all your personal information, financial. And interestingly, when I can't remember who it was, but a member of government was speaking concerning, one of the ministers was speaking concerning the ID card, and he made the mention that they are going to be working together with the financial institutions of the country. Well, that tells every Barbadian exactly where government is going with this. And we saw a demonstration of what could happen in Canada during the pandemic when there were the protests, and the Prime Minister of Canada shut down all of the bank accounts of the protesters and refused to give them access. I think you all would remember even the
Yes.
GoFundMe aspect was shut down by the Canadian government because they had the access to people's personal financial information. Even if you
Yeah.
have to get the card, don't pin it. You don't need to pin it. And Caswell, that information to do with anything that happens with you in government, that is all covered under the old ID card by your ID number. Anything to do with the hospital and the national insurance and all those different kinds of things, fine. But to pin it now gives the government the consent. You agree to give them access to all of the rest of your information. Kimar just outlined quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Before,
actually going to take away that number and reissue it to you under this system because you will not get a national identity credential. You will not get anything under this thing. So when Kimar is saying they're making you want to take away citizenship, and that might sound far-fetched and people might laugh and think he's talking, but that's exactly
He's
the
not.
effect
He's not. That's
that's the effect
exactly.
of what is going to happen to you. And we are not, we did not rather elect a government to be our overlords. I don't know that this prime minister has these delusions of being a feudal king, and this is what she wants to do with this country, and she could dictate what she wants. Remember, she took complete power onto herself during COVID. That should be a sign to people to watch out, that she's dangerous and you got to be careful with her. But you know, she fools people and said that she cares. I hope
yeah.
you realize that she cares about one thing, and it's in Barbados and Barbadians.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
know,
say what it is on this show.
this on September 13, 2023, someone who was watching sent me this article, and I remember reading this article, and I think it's clarifying something here about these ID, where the PM says that the new deadline for Trident ID will be pushed to 2024, but PIN cards will be needed, right? Prime Minister May Martley made the announcement on Tuesday as she urged residents who have not made the switch to Trident IDs to do so and pin their new cards, noting that the national insurance scheme could be the next state agency to utilize the PIN and chip technology, right? But then she said there are some people who want to pin and there are some people who do not want to pin. So we give the people the option, but we also give them a range of services. I wonder what that means, because if she says that what I'm reading here, there's some people who want to pin and there's some people who do not want to pin. So we give people the option, but we also give them a range of services. So does that mean that the services will be limited if you do not pin? It just so happens that the transport board, she says, is the first service that is rolling out. I fully anticipate that the national insurance scheme will be one of the next ones that will have to roll out in the next few months so that payments can be made to pensioners without people having to rely on checks. Making a case for pinning the ID card, she added, it also protects a lot of pensioners because we have had too many reports of pension persons abusing checks. You still have to be alert, but at least the card validates the person to whom the card is issued, and the PIN provides that further validation. Okay, so she said in one instance she's encouraging people to PIN. Then in the next paragraph, she says, well, you can choose to PIN or not to PIN, but there's a qualification, but we'll also give them a range of services. So that must be what Kimar is speaking about, right?
Marcia,
Kimar, you want to?
Ma-
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
look, sometimes when she speaks, I'm fearful that people would believe her and listen to nonsense she's talking. Now, you're saying that the checks are abused. What she's really talking about is that they got some youngsters that live with their grandmothers and stuff, and they take better checks from them, beat them in technology and all kind of stuff, and go and cash them. Well, all they got to do is beat them with the ID card. That doesn't make sense. It's going to be easier now because you take the ID card, you take the ID card and you go and access the services from the banks or whatever you got with it, and you got the people money. So that is not a security measure to protect old people. It just means that you're beating them for something else rather than for the checks. She has to come up with a way to make something that makes sense to protect old people, and this is not one of them. So when she's going there and saying that, she has to think, but she doesn't think first. She just comes up with these things, hoping, but I think she sees, I got to speak for 20 minutes. So she talks for 20 minutes and she fills in with fluff, all kind of nonsense. That does not make sense.
But you know what? Someone
card.
is saying something very important here, gentlemen. That the NIS has a direct deposit system. You don't need to pin any card to get benefits because someone is saying here that the pensioners were encouraged to deposit directly into their bank account. So what is it? What is it that she's talking about? Can somebody explain what is the Prime Minister speaking of when she says that to pin it, it secures your money?
No,
If it
she's
is
just
already
lying.
going direct.
It's a lie. It's a lie, Marcia. Straight.
It is a lie.
It's a lie.
Whenever you go to national insurance, they give you this form, and the form says if you want the money, a check, or you can deposit and you get put a bank account. So that has been in place now for years. So talking about putting it on your card and that kind of nonsense, that is foolishness. It goes to your bank account if you choose.
Right. I wanted to say
So
something
this
here.
is another lie. I know Kimar will not speak, but are you saying that this is another? You're telling me because we have to make this list because we're going to look at it at the end of the year. So this is another lie. Go ahead, Kimar, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say something here because I don't want us to miss out this very important aspect of it. The financial element to this whole digital ID thing and the pinning of those accounts to uh, people's savings account. Because if you pin a bank account, you're not gonna pin a checking account, you're gonna pin a savings account that you
Uh-huh.
should be able to spend your savings or whatever. So I'm gonna show the audience an article here, right? which shows you exactly what the Prime Minister is planning as it relates to the savings of Barbadians. Hoping that you can see the article here.
Yeah.
It's called Savings Tap. And I'm going to read it and explain along the way some of it. But this was published on January the 11th, 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says here, Prime Minister Mayor Motley wants less thought and more action to press the over $9 billion held in the banking system to work to help dig the island out of its economic doldrums. In fact, Motley said the time for thought was over and there was no time for action. Pointing out that if there was ever a time for the country to have entities that could be the appropriate financial intermediaries, it is now. Right? She was speaking at a unveiling ceremony for the Enterprise Growth Fund, and it says here that the island's first female prime minister noted that too often residents have lamented the fact that they were getting less than favorable returns on their savings in the commercial banks. And with Barbados a few months into the IMF program, she believed the over $9 billion in savings piling up in the banking system should be appropriately used in order to grow its way out of the economic hole. And she insisted that growth should not only depend on foreign direct investment given the liquidity in the Barbadian system. And she said here, this is a difficult pill for us to swallow, and we have to come to the conclusion that as a government, we simply have to do better as a region, as a country, and being able to mobilize our savings to the productive purposes of growth in our country and in our region, right? The Prime Minister said the Prime Minister did not give details of the plan she had in mind to unlock these savings in the banking system, but said it was about time that the mechanisms were put in place to bring a level of financial literacy throughout the society and close the circle of economic enfranchisement. She also went on to say that the situation in the region was similar and pointed out that CARICOM had $47 billion in savings. And she said that with that kind of money, we are in a far better position to be able to finance our development, but we are simply not acting with the strategic purpose that we ought to be acting. And Motley said that the region was allowing a scattershot approach to diffuse the benefits that can otherwise accrue to us at that level of accumulated savings, right? Now, to end off there, but it goes on much further, but I don't want to go on so far. You hear the words that we use. If you pin those bank accounts to your ID, you are pinning a savings account. Not so,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
When you pin your savings account, this is the same savings that the Prime Minister talking about here, that in the banking system, right? When you pin those savings accounts to that ID system, whenever you swipe a transaction, swipe your savings coming up, swipe your savings coming up, right? So this is all a move to strategically force Barbadians through the digital ID to be spending the savings in the country, right? So they are going to mandate that the digital ID has to be used when making payments on specific issues, especially when it comes to government and the like, right?
Mm.
So this actually allows the government
Uh-oh.
a backdoor.
Hold a minute. Not yet. Not yet. Yes. Thank you for having it, but not as yet. Yes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Right,
Kimar. Apologies for that.
right. So the digital ID is actually a backdoor into the commercial banking sector and into the savings accounts of people without all the usual regulations, because there are no regulations to really govern this digital ID, right? They had we call a data protection chief or data protection officer or so. But that person, if it really laws, it doesn't really regulate the banking sector, This new Digital
Correct.
Protection
Correct.
Act, it doesn't. But this particular act speaks to the digital ID though, right? So when you put those savings on there, the government is going to come up with some plan. The government is going to come up with some plan saying, well, look, we got boss bonds available. And if you use the digital ID to buy the boss bonds, if you get 2%, you can now get 5,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to say the only way you could get this increase in return on investment is if you pin the card to the ID, and by the way, every post office in Barbados has somebody working on behalf of the government of Barbados pinning those ID cards for Barbadians when they come in. So when the elderly went in to change pension checks, they had a separate table across and they said, well, you get your digital ID pin, or if not, you gotta go over there. Ask them. They had it going on in every post office, right? So the post office in itself does some type of banking services, right? When the digital ID comes on stream, the same way the commercial banks been trying to slow down traffic from coming in, so people using the tellers, the government is going to slow down the elderly from coming into the post office to do transactions, and they're going to force them onto the digital ID, right? So you're seeing smartly how the Prime Minister intends to go after your savings. And like I told you, Marcia, when the payments to the IMF become due, it's your savings that they're coming after, you know.
In fact, they did that in another country. It's not far fetched. Wasn't there another country? I read that somewhere where they actually did something like that.
It was Iceland in the Iceland banking crisis when they locked up, and I think this is where we had the difference as well. We were speaking about Greece. Yes, Greece had challenges, but it was the Iceland banking crisis where they locked up some of the politicians and some of the bankers for manipulating the currency and allowing IMF and these institutions to, and they took out the people's money and they were locked up. Right?
They took out the people's money and do what? Explain to the people who are listening.
They took out the people's money to repay debts. So when the country ran into financial trouble, through whatever manipulation they were doing in the currency, they then had to freeze people's accounts, take people's savings, go out to repay the IMF and other people, you know, before they could have given back the people their money. In Barbados, anytime there's a banking crisis, the maximum amount of repayment you can get is $25,000. Even if you got $2 million in a bank account, anytime there's a crisis, the maximum earnings you will get is $25,000. That's the maximum ceiling of insurable earnings from the banks, right? So the government know, because the banks before 2018, the banks in Barbados were not lending the government any money whatsoever, right? They were not lending the government money. So Mayor Motley coming in recognized that the banks have this power. If the government has a need to borrow money, that they could hold back this money and not lend the government if they choose to. Right? So the government now is looking for a way to get that money into the commercial banks. Somebody's echoing back. So the government now is looking for, let's say, a back way into the system to get access to people's savings, because if the banking sector come together and say, well, we're not lending the government any money, like much of what they're doing now, because the banks ain't really lending the government no money really. The government is trying to say, well, you could say that, but I can still find a way in. So the digital ID and the pinning in the bank account, that's where they're pushing you to pin, because they know as long as you pin, the government now owns that account, you know.
That's correct. That is correct. That is precisely it.
And you know, listen, Nichols, I want Barbados to listen. Winston Clark, Fred Corbin, and I said Dr. Ronnie Yearwood. You know, I did a whole show on it with the gentleman from I can't remember his name, Nael Harper. You know, Kimar would have put stuff on it. Caswell has been talking about it. We have done it on the show over and over. Barbadians, are we listening? That's the big thing, you know. Are we listening? A whole set of you still went and lined up and took the ID. A whole set of you still went and pinned your IDs.
And pinned the ID.
And pinned it. Listen, folks. We need numbers. We need numbers. You can't, as I heard a pastor saying the other day, you step out and when you look and everybody, yeah, yeah, yeah. When you look behind you, nobody's there. We can't do that anymore. This is getting too serious now. And I asked Winston Clark to come on because I'm ready for action, Mr. Franklin. We can't allow this to happen. We need to say we're not complying. But let me let Kimar finish his thoughts, and then I'm gonna go straight to Mr. Winston Clark because I want to ask him a few things. Go ahead.
Yes. So when you look across Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, I actually wrote a development economics paper on Rwanda. And Rwanda has its digital ID system, And Rwanda was one of the first countries, and here you see our Prime Minister was down there recently. Rwanda was one of the first countries to push this digital ID system. And Rwanda was one of the first countries to actually digitize the transport board and to put the digital payments on the transport system like what Barbados is doing right now. Right? So since if you understand how the insurance people work with their formula, the older you are, the more not income, but the more wealth you should have, right? And that's the broad speculation. So you wouldn't expect a man that's 20 years old to have as much wealth as a man that is about 60, right? A man that is about 60 will have at least a house, or should have at least a house, a car, some assets. So when you get the people to give the assets over to the government smartly, so you start with the bank account, you pay in the bank account. So you as a 60-year-old man, you got about $250,000 in your savings bank account. Bam, you go on and pin that on your ID. You heard Ryan Sean talking about a digital land registry, right? That thing they can't even get the physical land registry right now to work properly, And Ryan Sean is coming up saying they want to get a digital land registry. Go and put your land in digital land registry and see what happened to it, right? The government came up now with what you call, Barbados was the first country in the world to create a metaverse, an embassy in the meta world, right? Which allows the government to tap in, according to tap into the global economy, attract investment, and offer services at a reduced level in the metaverse, right? So even at the level of diplomacy, ambassadors, the government is pushing this digital system and digital ID system, right? So the thing is, the coercion of it, Marcia, is where the danger lies, because a digital ID, if used properly, can be used to help facilitate transactions much quicker. Don't get me wrong, but the type of digital ID that we have is not that. It's not that. This is about control.
Kumar, can I just back you up on what you're saying there? And I'm going to try. There's another expert, Mr. Franklin, that Dave and I had a meeting with, and if I'm saying this incorrectly, I know he will send me a WhatsApp and let me know. But you know what this expert told me, Mr. Franklin, about these IDs? I mean, he's for the IDs, eh? And he was saying to us that Barbados has the top five, I said the top three or the top five digital ID in the world. Can I repeat that? Dave, if I'm saying, is that the top three or the top five? Digital ID in the world. What does he mean by that? He says that the level of information, the amount of information that the Barbados ID carries. The only countries that have more is China, and he mentioned one more. So I think it's top three. And I'm going to get that information. Actually, I'm going to come off the program and go get the information and come back and tell you all. And he is for it, but he was bragging and telling us that only about two countries that have an ID that is a better ID that holds more information than Barbados. Barbados is up there. And he was shocked. He doesn't live in Barbados. And he's like, how did you guys get this done? Do we realize? So what Kimar is saying to us tonight, folks, and what Mr. Franklin is saying, and what Dr. Nichols is saying is not something that they're pulling out of their head or from other parts of their body to say this is what is facts, this is what is happening. And the PM has not been clear. In one breath she's saying to pin, in the next breath she's saying you could decide to pin or not to pin. However, she's saying that there will be services, so that it means that if I don't pin as a Barbadian, as their services, that I would not be able to participate in, like voting and other
Or,
things,
or going to QEH.
are going to the QEH. There are services that we're not going to be able to do. And my question is, there are 159 on here tonight, and whether we always have our 300 and odd or 400 and odd people, I'm asking the 159. So what you going to do about this information? We're going to log on here every night and talk? Kimar, let me go to Winston Clark. Is he still on? Let me give Winston a say there. Hold your thought there, Kimar. Winston,
Hello, good night. I'm here. Are you hearing me?
yes, we're
Not,
hearing
not,
you loud
not
and
seeing
clear.
you. Not seeing
Okay,
you.
you're not seeing me because I've had some problems with my computer, so I'm using a different computer, and I don't want to go on to this one with what I am, well, with my information, so to speak. All right, until mine
Yes,
is properly fixed. Okay. No,
yes,
I want to add this because this is something that I am very enthusiastic about fighting against. This and the meds. You know that this is kind of like
yes.
my forte.
Right. Don't
Because
say
I've been
anything more about the meds. Nothing
yeah,
more
I'm not
about the
saying
meds.
anything. I'm not saying anything more. I know what happened. I know what transpired. But I want to add to what Kimar and Caswell and everybody has been saying. I'm going to go a little more in depth. All
Yeah.
right. Now we know for a fact that Barbados and our prime minister have been used to pioneer certain programs. All right, we know that for a fact. We know that when they are refused in other countries, she is used as the go ahead. So the digital ID is something that is being pushed here, and even though it has been refused in other countries, they're making sure that they put it here, and she's been given a deadline in which to put it in place. All right. No, we are seeing here where she's saying that till January will be the deadline. Okay. No, I want you to know that it's not also about only being able to access your bank account, etc. It's about control. It's about controlling these funds. All right. It is about controlling your movement. It is about controlling your spending. And for people like us who are outspoken, they will be able to stop us from having making transactions when we express ourselves in certain ways. Okay, this is what they intend to do. This digital ID. Marcia, I sent something to you. Are you still on there, Marcia? She's gone off. I sent something to her, and and I believe Caswell, you will know about this. I sent a copy of a notarial certificate because everybody seems to be afraid. People are easing, even though they don't want to, and getting these digital IDs. They're easing and getting them pinned, all right, because they don't want to be left out of the loop and to say they can't go to the hospital, they can't do certain things. But there's something called a notarial certificate, and I believe I sent one to Marcia not too long ago, and it supersedes, all right, the digital ID to the point where I have used my notarial certificate to do transactions overseas. Now, if you have a Barbadian ID and you are dealing with a bank overseas, like for instance Norway, etc., all right, you can't use your Belgian ID because they need confirmation from somebody legal, judicial. All right, the notarial certificate is used. What it is a picture of your old ID, a proof of address, a utility bill, and if you can, I don't know if they're going to show it here, but if they can see it, right? It goes with an apostille, all right, and it is used in Europe. It can be used in Europe, South America, anywhere. It is stamped by the registrar or deputy registrar of the Supreme Court, and it can be used. So I'm letting people know that they can use this in place of this ID and they can't question it. I use it as ID when I'm going anywhere. All right? They can use it and they cannot stop you. So I would love for people to be able to utilize this as soon as they possibly can before January. Take your old ID down to the court. All right? Take a proof of address. All right? Take a $10 stamp with you. All right? And just a little extra fee and go down and tell the people you want to get a notarial certificate. All right? And then see what they will do. Okay? Because that or a passport together, you don't need anything else for proof of ID. All right? But as you were saying, Kimara, you said that the pinning and how they were attaching these IDs to be able to get into the banking system. All right? We saw the example with Trudeau and what he did to the truckers down there, Dr. Ferdinand said, Reverend Ferdinand said, right? And this is something that they intend to do here. They intend to control us in the entirety. They intend that how we have freedom of expression now and that kind of thing. They plan that if they want to, they can stop you from having access to your account. All right, so that they can control your speech, control your gatherings, control all of that. As long as you do anything that does not fit into their program, they want to do that. And as Marcia said, we need people to stand up. We not it's not about we are asking people just to come up with us. It's for your own freedoms. And our freedoms are being eroded piece by piece by piece. And if we do not stop it now, they will have all we be like automatons, like robots around here, just obeying everything that's done, and we will know our children, our grandchildren will not know the meaning of the word freedom. It takes a person to stand up. It takes a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, a Nelson Mandela. And I can see some of them here right in front of me here on this program now. And we need some more of you. Come out. Do not be followers. Be leaders. Please, people. Think for yourselves. Think about your freedom. Think about your children and your grandchildren. Do not let these people put this ID in place. I know what it is doing in certain countries in Africa. I know what it's doing in China. I know I've been studying this for a long time. All right? Please, if you want to fight it, get a notarial certificate, but do not comply. There's enough of us, and they keep lying about the numbers they have, and that's why they have to force our hand by trying to give a date. They are lying. Come out, people, please. I think it's time, Martin, that we have another protest. And this one is about
Yeah,
these IDs. Definitely.
this is about the IDs. I sent you that
All,
message. I sent you that message.
please,
I sent you. Yeah.
go
What I
ahead.
want to say here now is this. You don't realize you're dealing with a government of despots.
I know.
You cannot see. Look, I know what a notary republic is, and I know what the effect of having a certificate. Because what if you are doing business outside of Barbados, they will ask you to produce not something from a justice of the peace. They want some person who the government officially recognizes as a
Right.
person who can say, well, this is Caswell, this is Marcy, this is Freddie. And if you look in the United States, they have some people who they give them some notary publics to go and they say, well, my commission expires, but at the time that fellow can only do it for a certain time. The registrars of the registries in Barbados and their deputies are all notary publics. You can go there, yes. The problem is you have despots that will tell the people at National Insurance, don't mind them and that I only want the ID. And the staff at National Insurance can be too frightened to say, well, look, we can't take that. We don't know where it is. So what we have to do is to kill this thing, not try to get the notarial certificate. Notarial certificates are very good for when you're traveling because then the government of Barbados is actually saying to everybody out there, the registrar Supreme Court, through the registrar Supreme Court, or whoever else, or registrar corporate affairs, or the land registry, or whoever else registrar, that we are saying that this is who we say we are, and they will, and because everybody knows what the Notary Republic is, they will accept that out there. You bring it here. I'm telling you, public servants are some of the most frightened people in the world, and Barbadians are even worse. I look, people come to me and ask me to represent them, but they don't want me to call the name. You can imagine that. People are so frightened. I said, but how can I represent you if I can't tell the people that John Smith, you are friend John Smith in this particular department? They want me to go and find somewhere around calling their names when they were the permanent secretary. That is how fearful Belgians are. Now, if you bring that certificate and the government said we ain't taking it, so we get that might work good for outside. It might even work good in Canada, because when Kimar brought up the thing, and he said that they are already using the digital IDs, Barbados digital IDs in Canada. I had to do some checking, and they found out that is a fact. And independent of Kimar, I went and checked. And you can't go to Canada now and as a Barbadian, even with your passport, and access services in Canada unless you produce your ID, your digital ID. They're told, this is how mean this government is. Even though the ID is not fully effective in Barbados, they tell Canada that it is. So Canada will not give you services if you produce, unless you produce the trading ID.
But that's no surprise, Kaz. We'll look at the relationship between her and Trudeau.
That's right.
Look at the relationship that we have.
Yes, you
right.
see the problem, but they're all they want cabal. They just join in and they sit down and plan what they're going to do. The same way Trudeau was able to make sure the truckers starve when they protested,
he would do the
the
same
bank
thing.
accounts and everything else. This is what this idea will do, because one day you go out by popular and you decide, well, I can buy something here and the ID card won't work. You want to know why? Because it's saying to you, the government don't want you to buy that. This is what that ID can do to you.
That's correct. That is actually happening. That is actually happening in certain towns in the UK right now, Caswell, where you cannot shop outside of a certain jurisdiction, a certain space, using your cards.
Right.
And you can only use a certain amount.
But what they are doing also, she said we got 19 billion in the banks that they're not utilizing. She won't utilize it. She wants to utilize it. She wants to get her hands on your money. And you know, when she got her hands on your money before, when you had government paper, and then she decided, we can give you a haircut, and then postpone repayment. I remember when I was in the Senate, a woman called me and she said, Mr. Franklin, when they do this thing, I can get back my money when I'm 117 years old. And so I raised that on the floor of the Senate, and then they went in and then they modified the program to change up a little bit. But they actually took up people's money without their consent. Anywhere else you call that stealing, but the government can officially steal from you, and that is what this ID will do for you, or do for the government, because what they do for you, they can make you poor. They can take out your money, and you, even though you might have money in the bank, and the bank give you a bank statement and say you got it, the government going to take it up because they can have access to your funds. I don't have a lot of funds, so they can get access to them. They just talk about the couple $100 I got, but that's it. But what about you, Freddie, when you've got all this money and thing? The hand of yours, and you can't even put it on the bed.
I going to put mine offshore. I can put mine offshore and use a black debit card.
Guys, I'm listening here, and
Serious,
I guess I'm the nanny of the group. You guys are the Kojo and all the different the Malcolm X and the all the different kinds of people on here. But let me tell you something. I am in total agreement. I sent you a message, Winston, as I'm listening to this, and said we need a mark. Guys, we have to hit the road in January, because listen, first of all, on that article that I read, the Prime Minister is saying there are two different things that's being said in the article. And we need it to be we need her to be very, very clear. We need to know if there are three scenarios. What happens if I don't take the ID at all? How long will I be able to use my passport? If I go ahead and I take the ID part of it and I don't pin, what does that mean? Can I vote? What is going to happen to me? We need that to be clear. What are the services that I will no longer be able to get? These are the things that we need clarity on, and they're not, they're deliberately making it muddled. They're deliberately muddling up everything. And someone sent a message to me and said I need to repeat the show that we did with Neil Harper. And I'm gonna repeat that show during the holiday time when we're not on. I'm just gonna put a recording, find the show, and play replay it. You know, but on a serious note, this is serious. This is serious. We cannot ignore this, Barbados. We cannot ignore this. There are too many of us, and it's going to go the way of the other thing there that they stick us with, right? That is what they want to do. It's the same kind of thing, and to bring segregation inside of here, right? And we're a small country. I live up underneath, people always says that we 2x4 in here, and they know they're going to bring this to separate people and segregate people, right? That is what they're intending to do, and we must resist it as we resisted that. And do not follow the lies when they're trying to tell us that there's so many people that have taken the IDs. And now when they put the January 31st on it, then everybody, they want people to rush down and to take something that they're not sure about. And now look at what happened years later after they forced people to take that thing in their arm. Look at what happened now years later. So many things happening to people all over the world. Huh? What is going to happen to them? What after our savings? What's going to happen? Well, I know we have other topics to talk about tonight, but this one is really oh wow. Anybody has any comment on this before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, yes, please, because you remember when she went and got herself invited before Congress to talk in the United States Senate, I think it was. And she told, "Oh, we have the digital ID," and the senator said, "What is we don't have that in the states. What is it?" And then she tried to explain, "The states don't have it, so why do we need
I'm
it?
not taking it either.
Now, why do we need this? They need this for absolute control. They want to control um the people in this country. They want to make us like serfs. That the lord of the manor would dictate and we will comply. Barbados, open your eyes. This woman is bad for everything that she gets her hands on. And if she got her hands on Barbados, she's bad for Barbados. We got to pray ourselves from under her, because you have seen that she had. And let me tell you, anybody who will just lie, nonchalantly, with things that I can understand. The fella said, the police see you, look, if you kill somebody, you say, you killed somebody, police, you said, no, you would do that. But she lies about anything and everything, and so when a person just lies routinely, you have to be careful with them. I will never forget when she went to school this Saturday to watch the World Cup cricket. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. There are some legitimate questions that are coming up on the screen, and we want to answer them because I'm going to just say to you, if you have a question about the ID, please put it up, because that's why we're here to educate, and we're going to do the best of our to the best of our knowledge, and to answer the question. So one question here says, so once you get your ID card pinned, your banking information is automatically linked to it. This is what Imperato is asking. Kimar, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, if you pin it, automatically to pin it, you got a bank account attached to the pin. Because obviously with the pin, you have to have a currency on it. So if you swipe an ATM card through the ATM, the reason for having it pinned is because when you swipe it, you're gonna access the account, right? So if it's like if your electricity bill had a swipe card, when you pay the services for the swipe card, you can pay the different components. So the ID now has different components in it. It has your personal information, your medical information, your financial information. So it's all different components on one card. So to actually get the pin, you actually gotta put an account on the pin. And that's the reason for pinning it in the first place.
Yeah. And is there anything different anybody wants to add? Because I want to go through the
But
questions.
I want to read this thing. It's
Yes.
sections 510.
Yes. And as you're doing that, I'm going to ask
A
Dr.
person,
Ferdinand to help me to go through and find the questions. I just want to help me because we want to answer the questions. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
right? It says here, a person who is not registered under this act, which is Barbados National ID Act, Identity Management Act. It says under this act shall not A, be added to the National Register, B, assign a national registration number, C, be issued with an identification card or a national identity credential, D, qualified to be added to the Register of Electors or the revised Register of Electors prepared under the Representation of the People Act, Cap 12. E, qualified to obtain a driver's permit or license. Or F, qualified to access any service or goods which require the presentation of an identification card to obtain such services or goods. So they have gone in there. This is a catch-all thing because everything you go to, the only place that you can go without ID cards in the market, don't cheap site or one of those other things that you hawk to buy something for you. Everybody has one ID card. So if you go to the bank, you want to check, they're gonna put your ID card in the supermarket or whatever. You're using your pin, your pin. They can want the ID card. Then you put your card in because you're going to go and swipe it off your account. So everything will be captured on this card. You can't vote. And that should scare people. You cannot vote. You can't drive. And if that don't scare people of this country, to see what this government sit down and plan to do to you. You voted for them. They asked you for your vote to run this place, not to dominate you, not to make you less of a citizen than you are. And all of this is done at the behest of people outside of Barbados. This is not something Mayor Motley came up with. This is something that she does not really understand, and they gave her to implement, and she got the Barbados to implement it. Because we are not as Barbadians, we are not running Barbados. Our instructions come from outside. Our instructions come from the IMF and all those other IADB. That is why you had the little thing with the one for not the little children are gay and bisexual or whatever. Did they remember that survey? These are not homegrown things. All of these things are done at the behest of other people. And every week she goes, every month, 2 and 3 times a month. I think she's on the island now. She leaves and go get instructions and come back.
Caswell, let me just jump in here. I want to read an article published on September the 14th, 2023, in which the minister, this is Davidson Ishmael, the Minister of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology. He makes this statement. I want you to listen really carefully to what I'm about to read. He says, so the Trident ID takes away some of those challenges in terms of fraud and other misuse and abuses that could take place in the system. He explained that under the new system, the government would be able to gather crucial data, yet does not describe what that data is. He goes on to say, we are introducing here a new system, much of what existed previously, but a lot more efficient, a lot more effective, that can be monitored and tracked in a better way. That is the minister's statements. Listen to what he goes on to say. The government has little interest in seeing what David Ishmael's travel pattern is, but it is good to see how many seniors are traveling on the bus at any given point in time. if they're peak periods. If they can track how many people travel on the bus, senior citizens, what is going to stop them through the digital ID from tracking your movements, your spending, how far you are spending your money, what places you're spending your money? What is going to stop them from doing that? What the government of this country has to do is to tell the people of Barbados to what extent the ID card is going to be used and what extent the invasion of their privacy is going to be compromised. I am tired of this rubbish. I feel exactly like you, Marcia, and I am weary of us talking about this. And then when we get out there for March, we can only find a half dozen people. We need to have every single opposition person, including the Democratic Labour Party, and I challenge them tonight.
Exactly.
I challenge
Exactly.
them tonight to call every one of their members out for a march along with us. I challenge them to do that because this is an invasion of persons' privacy, and I make no apologies for it. I will fight this. They will not get a single thing from me. It is time
Agreed.
we stop talking about it and put feet to action and action to speech and do something about it. I am tired and I'm weary of us talking.
Let me tell you something else, right? This is what is written in the legislation. I am not making this up. Right? It says a person who is issued, this is section 12.1. A person who is issued an identification card may be required to produce his identification card A, to the chief registrant officer, a registrant officer, or any other officer designated by the commission. 1. B, to a police officer, an immigration officer, or a customs officer. For the purpose of voting in an election in Barbados. D, for the purpose of accessing goods and services provided by the government or the private sector. Or E, for any other purpose for which the verification of his identity is required. And that identification card shall be prima facie evidence of the identity of the person shown on the identification card and the information set out in sections 11.1b. However, this is subsection 2, where a person is unable to produce his identification card for the purposes mentioned in subparagraph 1, the one I just read, subsection 1 rather, the person authorized to require such identification shall, unless another form of identification is authorized by law, defer consideration of the person or refuse access until such time as the relevant identification card is produced. You know what this means? If you go down the road and a fella pick your pocket and you don't, and it had your ID card in there, and you go down the road to get your dialysis, and when you pull out your card, you can't get your dialysis because it's 25. I said, nope, you're not getting your dialysis. You know, because you have to have this ID, because they have not said what other identification you can use besides this. Remember, it says here, unless another form of identification is authorized by law. The law has not authorized any other identification for these services. So what will happen? If you lose your ID card, you're in trouble, because I don't know of anywhere where you can go and get an ID card overnight. This is too draconian.
Yeah.
It was done by people who, and to tell you, this was done secretively, just like how they did the national insurance amendments.
And just like how they did the arm thing. Just like how they did that. And as a matter of fact, Caswell, you know that our health information is supposed to be confidential.
Yes.
And they invaded every single Barbadian's privacy by determining through the medical facility in Barbados, the Ministry of Health, whether they had the arm done or not. Thank you, Marcia, for the arm.
Yeah.
Thank
You know,
you.
there's another question here, and we want to answer these questions. I still want to touch on the things that we advertised that we were going to talk about. But A787 is asking an important question. Winston, you're still here. This was your suggestion. Winston, can this notarial certificate be obtained by children under 18 as well?
To my knowledge, no. To my knowledge, no. Okay, because you can't have proof of address of a minor relevant to that. So to speak, a minor doesn't receive utility bills and stuff like that. So to my knowledge so far, no. I don't know if Caswell wants to expound on it, but to my knowledge, no.
No,
All right.
okay.
But all I'm gonna tell you though that they will be worth less outside inside Barbados. You will only be using them
You
outside
say
of Barbados because the government will tell the people, because you see here what it says, section, subsection, that's why we read it. Unless this is authorized by law, and there's no law that says right now that you can have this notarial certificate. They're not notarial certificates. Then got no other pieces that says that we can use this. This is done to facilitate people who want to access goods and services outside of Barbados, usually legal services, want to go to university or whatever else you want to do. And in Barbados, they will tell the people in Barbados, do not accept it.
Okay, or
that's the end of it. We have to be look. I know that sounds nice, but what we are trying to do is to kill this thing. I want complaint. I want get wrong. I want it dead.
No, Caswell, I understand what you're saying, but in the interim, right, before they even get the chance to do it, they can't stop it because they have been using mine now for a while. I have been using mine. I use mines in the bank. I use mines with police. I use mines, as ID, and it supersedes and even the normal ID. You understand? Because it's stamped by the registrar of the Supreme Court.
What I'm telling
but
you,
you understand what you were saying. You're precipitating that they will put things in place to stop it.
There is nothing to stop you from using the notarial certificate, the driver's license, the passport, and all those things until when this and the 31st of January, unless those other things are authorized in law to be used as identification, they'll be all gone.
But they will be
all of them will be gone. So what you need to do is to get out there, get off your seats, and walk. Let the public know, let the people know, let the government know that we aren't being taken that. I am not about to say sit down and try to find a way around it, because the way around it right now that will be taken care of by subsection 12.2. What we want to do is to make sure this act don't come into force. We gotta make sure. These ideas don't come into force because it is bad for everybody in Barbados. And all it will do is to make sure that the government has absolute control over the people of Barbados. That card, look, it has a pin and it has a chip. Even driving down the road in your car, they will know where you are.
Yes.
Mind you, that might be good. Yes. That might be good for a wife who wants to find where the husband is. But I don't know what the government will want to do something like that.
because these people fail to realize that those chips are picked up. And we need to be really cognizant of the fact that a lot of things were erected when they were lockdowns, right? We came out and saw a lot of antennas, all kinds of things erected, right? And people don't really know, because remember, these people have not been open with us. They've not been transparent. There's a lot of obfuscation. They hide things that they speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hide things. So when you take and you hear them, you have to take what they say like a grain of salt. You understand? Because they've been deceitful in its entirety, right? And they know for a fact that any chip can be picked up. You understand? I know that for a fact, right? So when I hear with these tips,
Winston, just I'm going to stop you there, because I think you're kind of answering this person's question. How do citizens know that their information is protected? Okay, that's if they pin. How do they know who access their information?
But they can't even protect the electoral boundaries list. They cannot even protect. Every minute the hospitals be hacked, the court is be hacked. How can they protect that? They can't even protect the things that are here every day. You understand? They can't protect that. You understand? They can't protect the information. They can protect the pen.
Every government department that has been computerized has been hacked. Everyone has been hacked. So all of a sudden, now you're gonna get a national ID card, and they start from getting hacked. That's a joke. And all your information will be out there. I am putting as little information as possible about me in the public domain. Unless I
Listen,
want to give you information, you will have it. I'm not pinning any card.
I want to jump in here in terms of answering the question about person's data. Um, there was something called the Data Protection Act that was passed in Barbados in 2019, which specifically speaks to the processing of persons' data, right? And I want to read something about something called sensitive personal data, right? So I'm going to give you a definition for what is personal sensitive data, and then I will come back and tell you under what circumstances this data can be processed according to the government legislation, so you understand how much of an overreach this Data Protection Act is in terms of the processing and protecting people's information, because it ain't really protected. So the government appointed somebody to be called the Data Protection Commissioner. I don't know who's the Data Protection Commissioner at this point right now, but this person has access to any and all data belonging to Barbadians, right? And this Data Protection Commissioner has the authority to appoint data protection officers who can then be dispatched to any institution or whatever to be able to be in control over people's personal data, right? And what is sensitive personal data? Sensitive, and I can put it on the screen so that you can see here. Sensitive personal data, according to the legislation here, is racial or ethnic origin, political opinions, religious beliefs or other beliefs of a similar nature, membership of a political body, membership of a trade union, genetic data, biometric data, sexual orientation or
Oh
sexual
God.
life, financial record or position, criminal record, proceedings of any offense committed or alleged to have been committed by him, the disposal of such proceedings or a sentence of any court of competence or jurisdiction in any proceedings. Right? So when you come down to, I just want to come back down to that right here. So it says the processing of sensitive data, right? It says here, processing of sensitive data shall be prohibited unless the data subject gives his consent to the processing of such data. So remember the list I just called, right?
But
And
when
it
you
said,
print the card, you give consent.
yes, you give, when you pay the card, you give consent to the government to not process your sensitive personal data. And you give the, okay, look, it says here, the commissioner. So it says here that the processing is necessary in order to protect the vital interests of a person or another. In a case where consent by or on behalf of the data subject has been unreasonably withheld. Look at this part here. The processing is carried out in the course of its legitimate activities with anybody or associations which is not established for profit or conducted, not established for profit, and exists for political, philosophical, religious, or trade union purposes, is carried out with appropriate safeguards for the rights and freedoms of data subjects. So basically, it says to you the conditions under which your personal sensitive data cannot be published, right? But think about it. Why would your personal and sensitive data need to be processed in the first place? Why would your political party, or why would your trade union, or why would your sex, or why would your financial information need to be on record first thing first, for somebody you call a data protection commissioner who's going to be a political lackey by the way, having all authority to oversee your financial information. The government also passed in this piece of legislation that the data protection commissioner can be deployed upon request of the government to go into any business or operation where the processing of data is occurring and subpoena that information, you know. So that is why and how the government can get into your bank account because the Data Protection Act now allows them in. So when you pin those bank accounts, you actually give the government consent to process your personal data, right? And then your personal data can be sold to any and anybody over the world. Anybody who calls themselves a data processor can sell your information to anybody. And if you understand how the world is working, the sale of personal data is big business, big tech. These big firms buy your data from governments, you know. So think about it. And people didn't recognize this. When the government actually put taxes on online transactions, VAT on online transactions, the legislation allowed a company that is not domiciled in Barbados, has no type of jurisdiction whatsoever in Barbados. That company, particularly Amazon, is now a tax collector for the government of Barbados. You understand that? A company like Amazon is now a tax collector for the government of Barbados. That don't happen nowhere else in the world.
But I'll tell you something with that. You remember when they tried to do it with the Water Authority, I kick up because the Water Authority was not a tax collector in Barbados, and they went back in Parliament and changed the law. They didn't even to change the law for Amazon, just doing it. You see, because when they were saying that, because when they did it, I got up in the Senate and I said, no, the Barbados Water Authority is not the consolidated fund. They can't collect taxes. They can't money going into the consolidated fund from there. They have no authority, and they went and made a little amendment. They don't recognize what you're saying is true, but they don't care anymore because this government is arrogant. They can do what they like. But I want to ask a question that you just asked. Why would somebody want to know your sexual orientation and thing? You know? How you expect the people to find you? You know, that is, you remember they wanted to do it with their children? When they wanted to find out for their children if they prefer to be girls and prefer to be boys, and they asked them where they live, you know, and living conditions. All that was in the list. Computer survey. They were looking for recruits. No, if you have that data and they know where to find you. They can come in there and invite you to their parties and stuff. That was all about. You know what's going on.
Thank you for that piece of information. It's a very relevant information. But you know, we're gonna have to. I know. Friday we have to get back on this here, Kimar. And I hope because some of the questions people were asking were overlapping. Somebody's asking if this would fall under the Computer Misuse Act. Well, we now know where it falls under. Okay, so we have the Data Protection Act and also the act that Kimar mentioned at the beginning of the program. Just give me the name of that act again, the correct name. I don't have the correct name.
The Data Protection Act passed under K. McConney at the time. I just want to read
not that one. So that's the one. There is the one that the ID falls under.
The Barbados Identity Management Act.
Right. Right. The Barbados Management Identity Act.
Barbados Identity Management Act.
Identity Management Act.
Right.
Identity come first. Right. That's right. Okay.
Marcel, just wanted to give you it's just the last one because I know you probably want to move on, but I just want to give you this last thing here where I was reading. It says here in the same piece of legislation about the processing of your sensitive information, right? It says here that your information should not be processed unless the processing is necessary for the purpose of or in connection with any legal proceedings involving prospective legal proceedings, for the purpose of obtaining legal advice, or otherwise for the purpose of establishing, exercising, or defending legal rights. The processing is necessary for the administration of justice. The processing is necessary for the exercise of any functions of either House of Parliament. Hear that? Either House of Parliament. And the processing is necessary for the exercise for the functions of public authority. So what does that sound like to you? That sounds like government officials instructing the data protection officer to process your data for their own purposes. It says clearly here, and exercise for any function of either House of Parliament. But I guess we can follow up on
Right.
that at another time.
Yes, we really should. I know she doesn't have any teeth, yeah, but that act, and then the person who is in charge of it was put there by the government. So she will do whatever they want her to do. But guys, we're gonna need to move on. I think we've put enough information out there for Barbadians to begin to talk to their family. Christmas is coming up. When you meet for Christmas lunch, Christmas dinner, talk to your family, right? And when it's time for us to go out, 3 persons cannot stop this. 10 persons going out there in the hot sun cannot stop it. We need a Bossa movement, and Bossa this time we're victorious. You understand? This is a very, very, very serious thing. And we're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to this. But let's just move on. Let's move on to this Novat Day. We don't have a lot of time, so we're gonna have to just kind of do some comments on it and move because we advertise, right? So I'm trying to be this Novat Day. What are your thoughts on it, General?
Well, I've always opposed how they do it. I'll tell you why. You just can't get up and say no VAT there next week or no VAT there tomorrow. You have to publish an order because VAT is their tax. And in order to waive a tax, you have to publish an order. But when they're looking for the popularity or whatever, they're rushing and go and break the law. So whenever the government did it, they broke the law. I'm good, but not. And the thing is, they use it to fool people because they're saying, oh, you know, you got Christmas shopping and all kind of stuff. No. The most thing that people buy at Christmas is food. Yeah, I follow me buy TV here and the fridge and stuff and everything, but people buy food. And the foods are zero rated. You don't pay a VAT on them. So this was not for the average fellow who want to get a little buy a ham now or nothing like that, because those things were VAT free all along. So when you see people bursting the supermarket doors trying to save the VAT on the goods in the supermarket, most of the goods in the supermarket are zero rated anyhow. So the government is just tricking people, always tricking people, and but what that does is when they want the people who fund their campaigns, when they want some money in their coffers, they want some activity because the Christmas shopping done or whatever shopping done, they tell the prime minister, look, we want something. Then people go ahead and say, oh, VAT free there. They don't even announce it properly, and people rush out there and push down the place, and then you see the place burst. All those stores downtown that sell all this, and then they sit down and gloat. All that does is to take away the little bit of money that you should save. Unless you really need something, you should be out there running down doing anything. But unfortunately, the government is in control, not only on the outside, but the people who fund their campaigns in Barbados. And they're not me and you, because we haven't got the money to give them, or the average voter. So the people could give them the money are the merchants. So that is why you correct. See when they had the the first things the government did was to get rid of the NSRL, National Social Responsibility Levy, because the merchants wanted it gone. How many things that we want gone, the people of Barbados want gone, and the government ain't paying the money? But one of the government's priorities was to get rid of that, because the people in Barbados, the people who fund campaigns, so the people who fund campaigns also wanted some more activity in their businesses. So they tell the government to do it. It's unfortunate that we have allowed our government has allowed itself to be at the beck and call of a certain category of people. and they have to do what they want. But this year now, they can't afford it because right now government ain't paying its bills. You know, government ain't paying its bills. Government's got to wait for VAT there to pay for its goods and services. So they can't afford to have no VAT there this year. Because as a matter of fact, sometimes even the little union dues that I get, I got to wait till the 16th for the following month when they show up in the bank. Mind you, they're supposed to be deducted from the worker's salary on payday and sent to me. But I don't get them before the 16th for the following month. But you know, 15th is VAT there. So then they will get some money deposited on the bank. There's a few little dollars in the big thing. Pay light bill, water bill, and rent, and money gone. And so it's not a lot. But the government even have that. So their hands are tight. So they can't afford no VAT there. Because even though they borrow all this money, they're wasting it. You look, one minister traveled here the other day, and one leg of his trip for one day, he wanted to pass through someplace. It was $20,000. Here we tell you, I'm not going to call his name, but he had to go. But you see, the thing is, they're using government funds like it's a slush fund, like it belongs to them. So ask the Prime Minister who funds all of her travel when she travels on this private jet, who pays for it and all kind of stuff. So they can't afford to give you any little benefits that you want right now. Or you were hoping to get that they wean you on and not taking them away. This government does not understand that a penny saved is a penny earned. They spend all over the place for foolishness. One minister gets coffee valued at $1,000 for these little fancy coffees that they like. And when the PS said no, minister transferred, PS transferred here in Barbados. I'm not going to call any names, but they know who we're talking about. I'm not going to call her name. They send government money. If you want that kind of fancy coffee, you go and pay for it yourself. But they get government to pay for everything for them.
Yeah. Well, Marcel, I want to jump in here quickly. No VAT.
Everybody need to go because we want to touch a couple things, right?
Yeah. No VAT is, I mean, I don't know what the people again were talking about no VAT. Because as Caswell rightfully said, most of the items in the supermarket are no VAT anyway. And I have a piece of legislation here. Some amendments for 2017 when the government actually raised the VAT threshold from $80,000 to $200,000. So in order to pay VAT in Barbados, you have to be making $200,000, right, within that region. So automatically, the people who charge VAT will you consider to be medium to size, the big businesses, right? The government actually amended this piece here and extended what you call the basket of goods or extended the zero-rated items. I just want to scroll down quickly here and read some of what those items are for you. So when you read the items, you will see that they're basically things that we buy every day. They say meat, animal flesh, mixed meat, ground beef, frozen meats.
Don't go so fast, Kimar. Are you looking for a piece of thing? You go up.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So hoping that you could see all types of meat, boneless meat, frozen meat, pig, sheep, goats, horse, mules.
Baby, stop there. You know, if you look at it big, they want you to eat edible offal of bovine animals, swine, sheep, goats, horses, asses. They want us to eat asses. So the technical over that. That's what this is all.
All right. So
I knew something was coming, but I didn't.
yeah.
I didn't even. I never noticed that. Whoa! Wait! I want to read that. Just a minute. People need to read this. What? But wait a minute, Caswell.
Yes, sir.
What is awful?
That does like guts, tongue, um, kidneys, livers, that kind of stuff. Them is the like, those kind of things. That's awful.
But that is awful, really. That is awful.
And good fun.
Yeah.
That is
All right.
awful.
Want us
Go
to
ahead,
eat.
sir.
So they take the fat off of that.
So
Tongues. Wait, what tongue? Wait, not so fast. Tongues? What
Yeah.
tongues?
animal tongues.
Jesus.
Kidneys, livers, that kind of thing. What's it called?
Trotters,
Yeah.
big trotters, foals.
So we are not supposed to be paying VAT on any of this stuff?
No. Fish. You say fish, fresh fish, or chilled, excluding fish fillets and other fish meat or heading, jellyfish, tuna, herrings.
What's other? Go back up. What's other? What's other? It's not specified.
It could be other in that category, in that class.
Okay.
In that category, I think the point Kimar is trying to make though is that Kimar, tell me if I'm right or wrong. It is that the things that we use every day, right? We don't. It's not vatable anyway.
So VAT free.
That's the point you're making.
Yeah, so VAT free is really a waste of time for
A
people
waste of
going in the
time.
supermarkets, especially poor people. Most of the items that you see being sold on VAT free there be consumables from the merchant side. So whenever the merchants want to move that old stock off the shelf, the government will come and give a VAT free there and move off that old stock. So particularly in December, if the merchants had a VAT free there, you would have got old stock today. So they would have sold off the old stock, got paid money in the coffers, put the new stock on the shelf, and then they would have still got paid for Christmas. So they would have got paid twice. The merchants, if the government had the VAT free there. So the government don't really benefit from the VAT free in terms of taxation because like when you buy those
Big ticket items.
Yeah, it don't really benefit.
The only benefit is the merchants, but the government benefits too, their campaigns, because some of that money trickles back. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And plus too, like the government businesses are allowed to keep the VAT for 30 days, right? And if you know, there are so many businesses in Barbados that don't pay VAT although they're collecting it. And proof of that is when the government came in, the government actually wrote off over $1 billion in VAT, since 19.
From 1997 to 2000, they wrote off all the VAT for that. And because certain people's fathers didn't pay income tax between 1968 and 2000, they wrote off that too. I'm not going to call anybody's father's name. I said certain people.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that it doesn't. Once again, it's not something that would benefit poor people.
The poor people, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But you think someone just put a note there, and I read something earlier. And if anybody can find the article, I read it earlier in the week. I think from last week, where places like Grenada and St. Kitts, that they didn't come to their citizens and say that their country was number 5 in terms of growing economies in the world, because remember, Barbados is number 5. Okay, number 5. Our economy is so great, right? Poor Grenada and St. Kitts. However, Grenada and St. Kitts, they were able to give extra full month of pay. I think it was Grenada. I read that. I was shocked.
Yes, you did. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, extra full month of pay, and somebody is saying here that children under 18 got $1,000. I'm like, what? And this is remember now, we are the economy that is number 5 in the world in terms of growth, right? But we, and we're not, there's nothing for
the
poor
5th
people.
fastest growing economy.
The 5th fastest growing economy in the world. Not Grenada and St. Kitts, but Grenada and St. Kitts was able to
in the metaverse.
Which world?
In the metaverse.
In the metaverse.
That's something. Now you're talking.
So let's switch over into the debt. Let's talk about unless we have anything else to say about the Novat Day. I think that was a
Yeah.
great educational moment there for people to realize that the things that they use every day is not part of that basket. It's not vatable, right? So now let's look at IMF. The IMF is saying to the top five or the fifth fastest economy in the world that they have more money to give us. We have more. We can draw down some more. This is, I guess, what they promised us, and we're now the biggest news in the world. Can you imagine? We're hearing this before Christmas. We can draw down. It's 1 point something million dollars that we are able to draw down from the IMF, guys.
But
Isn't this
but
awesome?
But see, every time you borrow, you have to pay back. That money will not be paid back in my lifetime unless it lives about 200. And that is the problem here, because when politicians now, and this is sinister, they load this country with a lot of debt, knowing full well that they're going to be gone, and then put it on the incoming administrations to pay back. They're going to make this country almost ungovernable when they leave. Barbados is going to will be scraping the barrel for a long time after. And tell me a country in the world that the IMF went in and they got better. I'm talking about the poor development countries. Name one. Jamaica. I remember Jamaica went to the IMF in the 70s when he was a boy at school. They get it up yet? That have never,
not a country, not a country.
A developer, and
I
especially
think
black
there was one.
country.
I think there was one, Caswell. I think it was Japan, where all the citizens brought all of their gold. I remember reading a documentary on Japan in connection with that. Um, it's been a while. A bit of information, but all of the citizens brought all their gold and whatnot to help the country out of debt. But I want to read something really quickly, Caswell. October the 11th, 2023. We are borrowing all this money from the IMF. And maybe, Kimar, you can explain this. But the IMF, this is the headline. IMF, I wonder if I could show this. Marcy, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up on this screen. Yes, let me see if I can put it up. I
Right.
don't know how to get the thing done where you all go over to the left and the article shows, so you might have to help me with it. Oh, okay, it happens automatically. All right, look at that. The International Monetary Fund is forecasting the economy will expand 4.5% this year. But now check now. Okay, growth should slow to 3.9% in 2024, and the 2028 figure projected is 2%. So what the IMF is now saying to us, after we done borrow all this money, is that our economy is going to be slowing down over the next several years. So how in the name of God are we going to be paying it back when the economy is slowing down? Are they going to be borrowing more money to pay the debt?
You can't borrow growth.
That is not my information that I'm showing you there. Last week, the World Bank predicted growth 4.6%, followed by 4% next year and 3% in 2025. But we are borrowing millions of dollars from the International Monetary Fund. Now the Monetary Fund knows that and knows that our economy is going to be slowing down. Pray tell, why would they go ahead except there is an agenda? And I don't care what anybody tells me, there is an agenda.
Yeah, and the thing is that somebody was saying that, you said it would be growing at 3 point something percent. Wouldn't that at least put us? Did we actually? The question I know that's what was projected. I don't know if anybody can do a research to find out, did we actually grow at that rate
But
or anywhere near there?
I think Kimar did something about that. Kimar, I don't know if you could remember when the central bank governor came out and talked about the projected growth or real growth or something of that nature, and you expanded out to show that that was not true.
Right. It's nominal growth and real growth. The Barbados economy declined for 8 consecutive quarters before COVID, declining for eight.
Yes.
They didn't declare we were in a recession. You know. All you need is 3 quarters of negative growth to say recession, but they did, and we had 8. Then the economy dropped by a total of about 18% during COVID. So the economy of Barbados has not grown back to the point that it was before COVID. So that means you don't grow. You recovering, right? So all he's saying, but economy grew, it didn't grow. Because if you drop that low and you have not gone back to the point that you were at before COVID, you don't grow, right? The economy of Barbados was around 10 billion and some dollars before COVID, right? It ain't get back there yet, it ain't surpassed 10 billion yet. So how you can have growth? Show me the jobs in Barbados. Show me new sectors, right? Show me. Show me the investment, right? There has been no substantial job growth in Barbados. There has been no substantial growth of entrepreneurs in Barbados. So these things are fallacies. There's no sector in Barbados, none whatsoever, that has grown. The only sector that grew in Barbados during COVID was agriculture. And what the government did, as soon as we were out of COVID, they pushed it back on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are misleading people by jogging. I had a book sometime ago. I don't know if it's also on my shelf. How to Lie with Statistics. They teach you how to present the figures to make it look that way, and that's what they're doing in Barbados right now. But no, there's no real growth in this country or anything. The only thing that we are growing in is unemployment. I'm very serious. People are losing their jobs every day in Barbados. I know because they pass through my office, and a lot of these places, they're not replacing them. They're not losing them because of misconduct or whatever. They're losing them because a lot of businesses in Barbados are not making the kind of profit that they want to make. They're not making any profit. They're not making the kind of profit that they want. And rather than say, well, okay, let's hold strain, they get rid of people. This is what's happened with Barbados today. They're not making the kind of money that they would like to, and they're messing up a lot of people. So when you hear this nonsense about growth and what, and and then when you were speaking to Kimar just now, he's a laugh because you remember they said they want to increase the population of Barbados. You ain't getting no growth anywhere, and they want to bring only growth in the population. But when you bring those people to Barbados, where they can work?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they will get jobby water, so you will always get that because they will get water. Because right now, no, I'm very serious. That because probably that's what they're catering for. Okay, because they think we got desalination that would help us to get our water, no, but they want to get the little stuff into the water, like poisonous or whatever it is. How where they gonna work? And if they don't work, who gonna feed them? So you just can't bring people into Barbados. But this is again another thing. I tell you, the prime minister goes overseas, she hears things, and she does not understand. I remember she was talking about something about Belize had 70,000 people in all years ago. I know Barbados got more than Barbados. Belize got 8,866 square miles. I think that is it. We got 166. You don't expect Belize got more people than we. I went to Belize, lovely place, and we travel for miles between houses. When we going out to Mexico, just one house here and then down the road, few miles before you see another house. Enough space. They can put people. But she's just talking. There's no growth in this country. Nothing is growing. The only thing is growing are consultants and unemployment.
Yeah. When we think of this money, my thing is, can we, I guess this is something that we need to do at the to in the first last show in the year, because you look at the amount of money being borrowed. I don't know, it's another research topic. And to be able to see like what infrastructure, what do we have? You know, even in your own family, if you borrow money, right, Kimar, you can say, okay, I borrowed and I got the fridge there, and I have a stove there, and I have a car there. What can we look at to say? I mean, there's a big monument in town, but what else is there? Caswell Monument. What else is there that we can say that we have? You know, and should we really be taking this money? Should Barbados really be taking this money, taking this drawdown from the IMF? I suspect it is part of what we were supposed to get,
Yeah.
right?
Marcel, I want to.
According. Sorry, go ahead, Kazo.
Let's keep on.
Right. I saw somebody
Yeah.
ask if we could have explained things. So with your permission, I was hoping that we could do a separate show. It doesn't have to be a day that we have the Marcy Week show, but it could be a Tuesday or a Thursday where we sit and specifically deal with the economic issues, the indicators. You know, we go through the central bank reports, the IMF reports, and give a complete uh, understanding to the opposition and to the roadside parliament as to where we're going economically. So we had the sessions on Saturdays with the water, the economy,
Yes.
roads, this and that. You know, if it's possible, we could do that. I know I won't mind having you guys on there as well. I know we could probably begin some other economists and some persons that could help share some other perspectives. Um, and really help to bring people up to scratch about the truth of the Barbados economy and this IMF program that's choking us here.
Yeah, because there and with some graphs. I like graphs, especially for things like this, to be able to see like what you were just talking about. You know, the growth or the lack of growth, in all the different sectors. I don't know if you probably did a graph on it already, but I like that because I like pictures. It helps me to understand, you know, everything much better. But we're gonna move on only because of time. I see somebody sharing something here. Let's see. But you know, we want to talk about. Okay, you have something there. Okay, this is
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. I didn't realize my mic was muted.
Oh,
No, you said
okay, go ahead.
you like graphs, and I just wanted to put up this graph that shows the national debt of Barbados from 2018 to 2028. It currently stands at $7.33 billion in debt, U.S. That is U.S. Marcia. That is 15 billion Barbados dollars in debt that Barbados is in. And I want to see how we're going to pay $15 billion in debt with a uncertain tourism industry, a non-existent manufacturing sector,
Manufacturing.
no sugar, no agriculture. Where are we going to get the money from? That's why the ID cards, according to what Kmar is saying, have to be pinned so that when the government has to pay the debt back, they can access the savings, the billions of dollars that are saved in the accounts of Barbadian people. I heard of loans, millions of dollars of loan. You're muted, Marcia. Millions of dollars of loans borrowed for road works in this country. And every day I hit 60 potholes on my way from St. George to Bridgetown.
But Freddie, I think they run some money for these potholes because if you want to know where I live, come down to Husbands, and when you come up the only road that is not fixed, I live up there. So they run the money when they get to me.
But you see, you know, Marcia, you started. When I say started, you one of the themes of this Marcia Week show, where the government is concerned, I understand to be transparency and accountability. And neither one of these exists where this government is concerned at the moment. I listened to Mr. Ralph Thorne's presentation, and I don't know if
That's
we'll
good.
get
We
to
can
that or not.
segue. Let's segue into that. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, fine. Because he said Barbadians deserve explanations. Barbadians deserve their questions to be answered. If people have a concern, it is not in your place as the Prime Minister or Minister of Finance, Minister of Agriculture, or whoever, to be the big McGuffey and get on like you don't have to give an account. You do. You are working for us. You're employed by the Barbadian public. You're paid a salary by the Barbadian public. You took an oath at the president's house. You owe it to Barbadians to explain things to them. You don't get on as if, give me your vote and watch me. It is not a watch me. This is our country. We employ you. You should be giving us an account. And I will not settle for anything other than that. Don't bring this foolishness to me of give me your vote and watch me.
Freddie, I'm glad you started on that because I read some of Ralph's comments, and essentially Ralph is telling his colleagues that they're arrogant. How dare you not want to answer our questions? Yeah, and I think he was speaking to Wilfred Abrams, who was saying, but you can always go to court for judicial review. No, if you are passing laws, you should endeavor to make those laws so clear that there's no doubt about the interpretation, rather than you telling them, if you don't like it, go to court. Because they know when you go to court, it's going to be 10, 11 years before the court make a ruling on them, like in my case now they're going on. So people like this, with this type of arrogance and stupidity, I don't know where they get it from, should be in the House. People like Abrams should not be anywhere near the House of Parliament unless he's brain water. This arrogance, and Ralph is talking about it, he telling that you're going to answer people questions. And I am glad, because remember some time ago on this show, I said Ralph was the only one of them, but then I have any respect for. And I was concerned that he was not standing because Ralph has a good moral compass. And I don't know why he was holding back for so long, but he can't take it no more. You don't realize that Ralph now is saying things almost like the opposition. When the West go in there, patting themselves on the back, he's such a diplomat though. He chides them, and I don't even think they understand that Ralph is telling them they're behaving badly, They're smart enough. How dare you tell the people of this country, you elect me to govern, so you can't, we want to hear nothing from you after that. This is basically what people like Abrams is saying. And Ralph is telling you, no, you can't do that. You're going to get answers to the people. They are our agents. They are working for us. So when we want answers, they should give us. Let's say you, any one of you, give somebody a power of attorney and make them your agent. And then they come back and say to you, you ask them, but what happened? You say, you can ask me that. You fire the agent. You fire that agent. This government wants firing.
Forthwith.
They want firing, but it's going to be difficult to fire them if we have people who sit down and feel that whatever they do is right, and they can do what they like for another 5 years, and then they get 5 years and they trick the people again and they get elected. God knows they don't believe that they were elected properly the last time. Because remember they stopped people from voting, talking about they had COVID and all kind of stuff, and God knows if they had COVID for truth. Because then you're going to get your COVID test, and you are them. They say you got COVID, so you can't go and vote. You never thought of that then?
Yeah. Well, I actually enjoy Ralph Thorne's contribution. I think Ralph Thorne has always offered a balanced perspective, a very moral perspective. He encouraged the government to take. Reports reaching me that they're trying to get Ralph out of his seat, right? And it's being alleged that the Minister of Culture is the person that the Prime Minister has to try to replace Ralph in Christchurch South.
Who's the Minister of Culture?
Monroe Knight.
But she's a minister in the minister.
Because there's no such thing.
Right. Well,
like really, Constitution. What they have done is to circumvent what the Constitution is saying, so they can give those people more money. But if she gets the seat, at least them will get back a seat in Parliament. No, you you remember under Thompson, she used to serve on boards and all kinds of stuff on the Thompson thing, And quick, so I know she's a like a PAP. But if she gets her seat, at least we got one damn seat for sure.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, but Ralph, right? My understanding is that they're trying to remove Ralph from his seat. To me, Ralph seems able-bodied enough, but as you see, the prime minister is trying to get everybody out who does not support her narrative, and put people in who would support her narrative. But Ralph made some very important comments. I didn't want to read some, but I also want to bring some other times where Ralph actually stood up against the government. Ralph represented the case in Oistins,
Yes.
He
where
represented the one in St.
and
Lawrence.
yeah, he represented
people in St. Lawrence.
the case in St. Lawrence Gap. He also represented Nero in Parliament when the Prime Minister.
And Dr. Griffith.
Yes,
Dr.
and he
Griffith.
Who's Dr.
also
Griffith? Who's Dr. Griffith?
Dr. Griffith is the pathologist.
Sally Griffith, who is the urologist who
Urologist.
treated Mayor's brother.
Yes.
yeah. So Ralph is showing the Prime Minister, who has some real backbone, because she said that, and she tried to disavow Ralph's talent. And I don't know if y'all heard the clip that was circulating.
And she said, but he do a lot murder case.
Yeah. When last Ralph tried a criminal case.
Criminal case, yeah.
Yeah. And she said, so Ralph has actually stepped forward against the opinions of the pundits and representing the rule out there. And Ralph is showing by extension that he has the most backbone to the 30 of them to stand up and tell his colleagues, even if they understand that he's telling them, he's putting them in their place or not, he's telling them to act right. So if it is that his own parliamentary colleagues are going head first on behind the Prime Minister, and people like Ralph, who's encouraging the Barbados Labour Party and the government to at least have a sense of moral responsibility to the people who put you there, I see that as a man that's worthy of support. And I would definitely support Ralph in any move that he has to make. Anytime that he chooses to lend his voice to the opposition, anytime that he chooses to lend his voice to supporting the issues of the people of Barbados, I'm definitely for it. Because I'm honestly tired of this one-sided, lopsided scenario where everybody gets in the parliament and say, I, and sings the praises of the government. So sometimes it just don't make any sense, right? So I just want to thank Ralph, and I just want to read something specifically that I took from Joseph Cadogan's, one of our loyal opposition people. I took it from his page, right? Where he spoke about Ralph, and there were some of the key points that Ralph raised, which says that the changes to the legislation is that the Utilities Regulation Amendment Bill introduces changes to the legislation specifically regarding the minister's discretion in making decisions in the public interest, right? And Ralph asked them questions, and the ease of defining what you call public interest, and suggests that it may not be as straightforward as Wilfred Abrahams is saying. And if you can remember, Abrahams was also the Minister of Energy, right? And it was also Wilfred Abrahams who was responsible for changing the management structure of the Light and Power from the old system, the old monopoly system, onto a new monopsony system. And he was the minister that was responsible for the creation of the 3 new licenses, right? The 3 new licenses that the Light and Powers were issued. Right? So this was something that was going on every, because remember, we had so many ministers of energy, We had Wilfred Abrams, we had Kerry Simmons, and now we have Lisa Cummings. Right? So Ralph is trying to engage his colleagues and to tell them you don't need to answer the questions of the people who put you there, right? Because something as important as this that would change the entire landscape of Barbados, that would allow new functioning entities, and specifically light and power. You can't have new entities running in the operating in the country running roughshod without the adequate regulations, and you cannot have a scenario where one person, a minister, who's always controlled by the prime minister, having the full discretion to be able to dictate the rules and regulations of a utility company. No, it should never be like that. And the FTC should be the ones who maintain control over that, because under the old scenario, the FTC had regulatory responsibility over the light and power. But when it changes now, it's not the FTC no more, it's the minister. And that is the main problem that we have.
Where does Airbus wife work again?
Digital or something like that, I
Sure.
believe.
Right. I'll give you some more work. I will tell you something now. Ralph Thorne is more prime ministerial material than anybody they have in parliament right now. He is intelligent, he has intellect, and he has integrity.
And he listens to the people.
Yeah,
He's
I saw him the
asking.
other day
Yeah.
fighting for his people in Oystens. I watched the video. I was very impressed by him. I was proud of him. And but Ralph is a poor boy that made good. He ain't come from the gold spoon from Sandy Lane. Ralph, I know his brothers. Two of them went to school with me. They were not rich, but they were bright, and they used their ability to get where they are. So Ralph ain't dependent on anybody in Motley or anybody to make him anything. But a lot of them, most of the others in Parliament, without their seat in Parliament, they are nobodies. You can't say that about Ralph Thorne. When the Guyanese had problems down there with electoral things, who went down? Who took hard to work for them? Ralph Thorne. He's not the fly by night person, and that's why they're gonna want him, because he's independent and he can stand up. You have one of the best lawyers in Barbados right now on the screen, and you got to do for us as Attorney General. But that tells you, because a lot of the stuff that happens in Parliament that get passed, right? Couldn't get past Ralph Thorne. He would not certify them as being good law to be introduced into the House. But I don't think they can buy him, and that is the problem, and that is where they want him out, because look at the people in the House and you see outside of Parliament, a lot of them have got no jobs, or if they got jobs, the jobs are not paying them anything substantial, so they have to remain in there. That's why Motley could tell them that she met them, because she did. She would not allow the constituency branches to select the persons they want to represent the constituencies. They impose them on the people. The one that stood up, because Sandra husband, she didn't want her, but she stood up and fought, and she was elected against their wishes. So they bring everybody else after her and they give them a ministry and all kind of stuff. She ain't got none. She languishes there in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, because she's not a minister of anything. Nobody call them minister. She has no portfolio. So she goes and makes little speeches ever so often and stuff. But the rest of them cannot make a decent living with either as an employee or a self-employed person. That's why they got to be in government. So they have to stick around and take these humps and grumps from Motley. Ralph Thorne doesn't have to. So he can stand up and he can tell them. But watch him on the floor though, he's never arrogant, he's never rude and not bellicose or anything like that. He speaks very calmly, but but he has his big stick, and he tells them when they're going wrong. As I said, he's so nice about it. They probably might not even realize what he's saying because those fellas don't understand much.
Yeah.
But
It's
no, but you see, the thing is,
diplomatic.
and I am glad that he's actually now come out and start to but mind you, he was representing his constituents because that is what he's elected to do.
He's elected to do.
Represent the people in his constituency. He's not a minister of government, so he has national responsibility.
And the thing about it, he represented them and he won. He was successful, and that's what so far that I've seen in the public eye.
Right?
So that's what but we're out of time, right? We're out of time. Ooh, we're a minute to 10. So we're gonna close off, but we wanna use this opportunity to tell people that we're gonna be on again on this channel and on the Marcia Weeks Show Facebook page. So we're gonna be on alternate views one more night, which is Friday night. We're going to be on again because we have Christmas Eve on Sunday. We're not going to be on Christmas Eve. That's family time, preparing for Christmas Day. Monday it's Christmas, so we're not going to be on Christmas Day. But make sure you can talk to your family, especially about the ID. Talk about it to relatives and people that you're with, and get ready for a date. We're going to be coming out with a date for January. We have to hit the streets. We have to make it be known. We should have thousands of people out there. This is not about religion. This is not, some people say, oh, those are religious marches or whatever kind of brand. This is everybody is going to affect. So we should all, when we turn back and look behind us, we should see thousands of people, right? Come on, it's a new year. So 2024, we need to have our first march in January. I believe so. Right? And listen up, we're going to be back on this on the Africa Bridge TV channel by in that week. So we're going to send out the notice, and you will be able to see. We're going to ask you, there are 199 of you, was about 200 of you on here at some point. I want you to subscribe. Please subscribe to Kimar's channel. The last time you were on, it went up. It actually almost doubled, right? So let's send it up and let give his channel some love and support. Okay, so by doing that, we're thanking Kimar for allowing us to use his YouTube channel so that we can be on tonight, right? So tomorrow, Friday will be our last. So go ahead, give him some love and subscribe to the channel, please. You will see the little button to just click the little bell, click the little subscription, and then so that you will know when we have to come on Saturday. I mean on Friday. It will tell you that we're coming on. Okay, all right. So any I want literally half a minute from each of you, because you all. Go ahead, Pastor Ferdy. Pastor Ferdy, nothing from you? Okay, Kimar, anything you want to say before the people go?
Yeah, again, always have a good thing on the show. This is my favorite pastime now, so I always look forward to being here.
Mine too.
For the world. Has a very fruitful discussions to start with. But I think what we all, the ending point here is that we need some opposition. We need all the support that we could get. I want to encourage all of us to continue to fight and fight and fight. Again, we paying lower light bills for the rest of the year. Okay. So
thank you, Kimar, for that.
Thank you, Kimar.
So I always very proud, So I mean, I look forward to see where the year takes us, to see where the year takes the Marcia Week Show, to see where the year takes the Roadside Parliament, and to see what happens in Barbados next year. The winds of change are definitely blowing, they're definitely in the air. I think our boy Ralph here smells the winds of change. So that is why he's standing up against the tyranny. So it can only get better from here. So I mean, more gratitude. Merry Christmas. Thank you all. Marcia, special thanks to you for continuously being committed to the loyal opposition.
Is there a show on
Okay.
Friday night, Marcia?
Yes.
Friday, yes. I was just announcing
Okay.
that
Okay.
we have a show
Okay.
on Friday night. Okay, and
I'll
then we
hold
break
for the Christmas.
for the holidays.
Right. I'll
Okay,
hold my
yes, go
Christmas
ahead.
greeting on
Jen,
Friday.
yes, we will do Christmas greeting on Friday. Yes,
Yeah.
and I eat jug, by the way. Go ahead, Mister. Go ahead, Mister Franklin. And we will
I want to close off by thanking everybody who stayed the course, even though the efforts to make sure this show goes the way of the dodo, we won't let that happen. So thank you all for coming on. I'm going to leave you with one thought. I like to quote my rules to point out. Last time when we were on, we were talking about the people in this, the criminals who are getting employed by the government to tell people how not to be criminals. And it is an offense in the public service to get a criminal offense. If you are convicted of a criminal offense, you can be dismissed from the public service. So the government is taking criminals and employing them, even though the law says that if I had a conviction, I can't work in public service. So put your mind around that. And so they know that these people are already criminals, and they are employing them contrary to the laws of Barbados. This is what the law says. So when they get a permanent secretary, they employ him. The permanent secretary is allowing the minister or whoever to mislead them, or but again, no guts, and don't want to tell the minister, because when people want the coffee, $1,000 coffee, and they can't get them, you could get transfers or permanent secretary is frightened. But you have the law on your side. What they should be telling these people is, no, we can't do that. Use the government agency that was established to do exactly what they are doing. It's called the National Council on Substance Abuse. That was set up for the exact purpose that this committee to get their hands on the money is doing. So thank you all. Good night. And I just want you to think on those few little things, and know that there's a law. The Almond Barbados is always a law for everything. Just check it out, and you will see that the government is breaking all of them.
Yes, thank you so much, Caswell, for always keeping us connected to that and giving us the knowledge of it. God bless everybody, and we will see you, God willing, on Friday. Continue to put up your lights and season up your meats and everything, and don't forget, eat jug. Bye-bye.
And I eat jug, and I eat ham, and I eat turkey, and I eat duck. Just so you all know.
Well,
remember,
not what Caswell said. We don't eat what Caswell.
But that is VAT free.
I did not say gut. I said duck.
No, I'm ending the stream because I know what Caswell going to say right now, and we're not eating that. Bye, Caswell. Bye.